Chapter 381. This is called a strategic shift. André wanted to relax in South Blue, take a lazy vacation, and train Khalifa and Monet by the way. This should have been an easy journey. At least André thinks so. However, with Olivia, an infinitely hatred existence in the team, André couldn't relax even if he wanted to. What's more, his location in South Blue has been exposed, and people who want to seek revenge for him are already coming to his area. Such as Tenryubito Jerofa's son Casti. At Mariajoy, André killed Jelofa. This made Casti feel sad and angry, so after learning that André was in South Blue, he accepted the invitation from Sophia Palace and came to André with murderous intent to seek revenge. At this time, the South Blue situation has changed again, and it has changed dramatically. The main reason is the army. Opinions arose within the army, which overthrew the world government in an uprising. Some people advocate based on the South Blue, the army and grain. There are also people who advocate immediately attacking the world government and overthrowing the world government before it can relax. In the name of their own opinions, the internal disputes of the army are endless, and the contradictions and conflicts are getting bigger and bigger. On the other hand, after the world government launched the world recruitment, it focused on 50,000 elites drawn from Marine, supplemented by 300,000 recruits, and took the initiative to attack the renegade army. I thought the army could easily defeat this counter-insurgent army. Unexpectedly, in Kestenberg, the army, while occupying a favorable terrain, was defeated by this motley army. As the original army Admiral Morph was frozen into a popsicle by Marine Admiral Kuzan in the melee. The army was leaderless, and the army was in chaos. It was pursued by Marine and a group of miscellaneous cards all the way, causing heavy casualties. At this time, the internal discord in the army broke out completely. Some advocated surrender, some advocated taking refuge in the Revolutionary Army, and some advocated retreating into the foggy swamp to rest. As a result, one shot and two scattered, became a plate of loose sand. In the end, except for tens of thousands of people who fled into the occupied area of the Revolutionary Army, the others were either killed or surrendered. The uprising, which had been huge, ended just like that. Adding up before and after, but only more than 3 months. And all of this made Dragon realize the gap between the Revolutionary Army and the World Government Army. In order to avoid direct conflict between the peaceful rebels, Dragon resolutely gave up the occupied country, and chose to shrink the defense line and hoard strength to peacefully confront the rebels. But the main force of the counter-insurgency is Marine. Marine's task was to quell the army's rebellion, and now that the army's rebellion was over, Marine would also be able to retire. As for the issue of the Revolutionary Army, it will be left to the new army to be formed. And Marine, of course, will take the warship back to the sea and catch all the pirates on the side of the trouble. When Olivia learned that the army's uprising had failed, her entire reaction was, "It's impossible. You must know that the army has hundreds of thousands of elite veterans, while the counter-rebel army has only 50,000 Marine elites, and the other 300,000 are recruits. These recruits are, in the Battle of Large Corps, it is really useless to have a strong individual. What's more, Marine is not good at land combat. Land warfare and naval warfare are two completely different things. That is to say, compared with the newly formed counter-insurgency army of the world government, the army has almost an absolute upper hand. It should be that the world government sent spies to bribe some high-level generals and divide the army. The world government is the best at this kind of thing, and the commander was slaughtered by me. Morph, a general full of muscles, can win. Strange. André wasn't curious, and he wasn't expecting too much from the army's uprising. Hey, in this way, the Revolutionary Army is in danger. Olivia said with some emotion. Everyone sweeps the snow in front of the door. Don't worry about the frost on the roof of his house. The Revolutionary Army has a half-money relationship with you. Do you still have the heart to worry about them? André looked at Olivia with contempt. He was now thinking about whether these counter-insurgents would come to trouble him. After all, these counter-insurgents were funded by Tenryubito, and should actually belong to Tenryubito directly. Mr. Andre, what do you mean? Olivia's response was not slow, and she heard something wrong from Andre's words. Ha ha. Andre just chuckled, and then patted Khalifa, who was worried. Go get ready and have hot pot for lunch today. Andre, are you going to fight the rebels here? Newborn calves are not afraid of tigers, but kid's face is excited. What are you thinking? Lao Su is alone, leading a group of you to fight with hundreds of thousands of people. Andre raised his hand and tapped Kid on the head. Hi tilde, it hurts. Kid covered his head. Listen, after this meal, we will return to the Kingdom of Santis, and then transfer from the Kingdom of Santis to the port of Kaie, from the port of Kaie to the port of Rondo to take a boat back to the Great Route. Andre, you're running away. Just as Kid finished speaking, Andre raised his hand again and rewarded him with a chestnut. Listen clearly, this is not called escape, this is called strategic shift, do you understand? But why did you leave from the Kingdom of Santis, where it is now an epidemic area, plus it rained a few days ago, the epidemic has spread. What do you know, don't the others know? Andre rolled his eyes at Olivia. You mean? That's right, we entered the epidemic area. In this way, their numerical advantage will be gone, unless they dare to risk hundreds of thousands of people infected with the plague, forcibly come to trouble me, but people who will do so, either mentally disabled, or severely mentally disabled. Quote. Andre's mouth is really brainless, at least Castile Saint once thought, dragging hundreds of thousands of people to the Kingdom of Saint Tays for a carpet search, trying to catch Andre. Fortunately, Sophia Palace stopped him in time. They will definitely not stay longer in the Kingdom of Santis, and they will definitely be able to return to the Great Route by boat. We will wait for them at sea. Sophia Palace is still very rational, she knows that there is no clean food and water in the epidemic area, and Andre must not be able to live there for a long time. At the same time, it is unrealistic for Andre to borrow Santis to go to other kingdoms. After all, if he goes deep into the inland of South Blue, he will be easily surrounded by the army. And a cunning person like Andre would never choose a dead end for himself. Therefore, Sophia Palace dares to conclude that Andre will definitely go to sea and return to the new Great Route. That is to say, as long as heavy troops are deployed in the port, Andre will not be able to escape. Chapter 382. It's not me who cheated on them this time. As Andre said, anything you can imagine, others can imagine. Sophia understood Andre's intentions, but Andre just wanted to tell her, you are too young and too innocent. Andre is a person who never plays cards according to the routine. After he brought people to Port Kaie, Andre heard the news that the army was closing the sea. Although Sophia wants to block the news, but you have mobilized tens of thousands of people to block there, can the civilians not panic? So, Andre re-entered the Kingdom of Santis after resupplying in Port Kaie. What? Andre has returned to the Kingdom of Santis. Sophia was shocked and angry, and then looked at the agent in front of her angrily. The agent didn't dare to look up, and replied respectfully, yes, Sophia Palace, according to the report of our agent in Port Kaie, Andre has returned to the Kingdom of Santis this afternoon. It seems that he already knows that you are subordinate at sea. Heavy soldiers gave up the plan to return to the Great Route from the Port of London, and this time he robbed dry food and drinks for more than a month. It seems that he intends to take a detour and take the land route. Quote. Damn, this despicable pirate dares to fool Ben Gong. Sophia clenched her fists and knocked heavily on the table. Kaza, the table could not bear the power of this punch and shattered. Pass my order, let the counter-insurgents block the border of Santis, and don't let Andre leave. Sophia Palace, I'm afraid this can't be done. Nothing can be done. The main force of the counter-insurgency army has arrived at the reorganization of the Strong Wind Fortress. After the reconstruction of the Strong Wind Fortress is completed, it is necessary to launch an attack on the Revolutionary Army. If the army is transferred at this time, then... Before the agent could finish his words, Casti on the side drew his sword and put it against his neck. We built the counter-insurgency army with money, and their actions naturally have to follow our command. As for the revolutionary army. Huh, they're just a bunch of clowns. They huddled when they saw we beat the rebels, and when we beheaded Andre in public, we'd go back and kill them. Casti clearly did not take the revolutionary army seriously. Because the army can push the revolutionary army into a corner several times, and the counter-rebel army can easily defeat the army. Doesn't this mean that it is as simple as stomping on ants to kill the revolutionary army? The agent didn't want to pour cold water on Casti, although he despised this arrogant Tenryubito in his heart, but Tenryubito was their master, and whatever the master wanted to do, he had to do it. What's more, the sword is now on the neck. If you say a word, it will be the whereabouts of the whole family. Yes, the agent nodded hard. Very good, we block the port here and block the border there. I don't believe Andre can escape South Blue this time. Ha 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 tilde tilde tilde. Casti burst out laughing. Then go ahead and do it. I don't want to hear anything about Andre anymore. Although Sophia is a rational woman, she will not let Andre go, because Andre exists one more day. That is an insult to the Creator. As a descendant of the Almighty Creator, Sophia will not tolerate such a thing. Andre, who had returned to the kingdom of Santis, had no intention of returning to the land. Mr. Andre, where are we going now? Olivia asked. Don't go anywhere, just finish eating the dry food here. Andre grabbed nearly a month's worth of dry food and wine this time. Wait for what? Olivia was stunned and asked hastily. Wait for the Revolutionary Army to start. Revolutionary Army. That's right, the forces of South Blue are now intertwined. There are the forces of the Revolutionary Army, the forces of the warlords, and the forces of the world government, and the Revolutionary Army will definitely not attack the territory of the warlords at this time. The warlords are happy to see that both sides lose. Nor will it intervene in the war between the Revolutionary Army and the government. Quote. Then what? I've said so much, so understand, you still don't understand. Andre looked at Olivia with a mentally retarded look. Olivia has a natural look on her face. Well, you won. I admit I overestimated your IQ. Andre rubbed his forehead and then explained. Now the border is definitely blocked by the counter-insurgents, and the port is blocked by heavy troops. Do you understand? Olivia shook her head, still not understanding. You're an archaeologist, you should know better geography than me, why don't you understand it? Andre really lost to Olivia, and then explained patiently, have you seen the map of the Kingdom of Santis? Yes, Olivia nodded. Then do you know how long the border of the Kingdom of Santis is? I remember this, the border of Santis. Stop, I didn't really plan to test your geography. Andre squeezed his forehead and continued, Santis's border is very long, like a long belt. If you want to completely seal the border, you need to mobilize at least 20 people. There are more than 10,000 troops, and the entire counter-insurgency army is only 350,000. Although they have captured a lot of troops, they have not yet reorganized and have not had time to Amway. I don't understand what Amway means, that is, brainwashing, so loyalty does not count high, there is still the possibility of mutiny, so it is impossible to reuse. Quote. Then what? And then, my God, where have you read all your books? Andre felt like he was completely defeated, and Olivia didn't understand what he said so plainly. Andre, are you saying that the counter-insurgents are scattered, the Revolutionary Army will take the opportunity to attack from the weakest point, and then destroy them individually? Khalifa has been with Andre for a long time, and she has been in the military camp in the past, and she can already understand Andre's intentions when he hears Andre mention the sensitive words of borders and number of soldiers. That's right, I didn't set a trap for them this time, but they buried themselves. After this war, South Blue will no longer have the power of the world government, but that's fine, the Revolutionary Army and those careerists sooner or later they will fight, so let them bite for a while, to make this chaotic world more exciting. Zizuzu tilde 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 Sengoku chaotic times, just thinking about it makes one's blood boil. Quote. Andre didn't notice that when he was saying these words, Kid Xiaopenyu kept peeking by and imitating him. Even Andre's habit of scratching his hair, Kid Xiaopenyu has learned it in a similar fashion. Chapter 383 Apprenticeship. Andre was not in a hurry to come out in the epidemic area, which made Sophia and Casti a little impatient. The agents who assisted them also sent messages from time to time, saying that the Revolutionary Army had changed and seemed to be gathering troops. Assemble the army. What is the use of this rabble even if it gathers hundreds of thousands of people? Sophia and Casti didn't care about the Revolutionary Army at all, and naturally they didn't take them as a threat. Although the generals of the army who surrendered also persuaded them, the generals of the defeated army were not brave enough. Sophia and Casti didn't bother to listen to the advice of these generals. Hundreds of thousands of troops are here, how dare the Revolutionary Army come over? Casti's contemptuous words revealed his extreme disdain for the Revolutionary Army. However, there was one sentence he forgot, which his father Jerofa had taught him. Retracting the fist is for a more powerful punch next time. However, Casti has been arrogant since he was a child, and he believes in the theory of blood supremacy. In his opinion, as a descendant of the Creator, his decision is always right. What's more, Sophia has no objection, proving that she also thinks the same as herself. Hey, these army generals sighed helplessly, but they also knew that whatever Tenryubito decided, it would be difficult to change. The army generals worried that the front line was too long and the Revolutionary Army found a weak point to break it. This is what Andre expected. And Dragon will naturally not miss this opportunity. We're here to beat them outright and liberate the whole of South Blue. Dragon had a determined look on his face. This opportunity was really rare, and he absolutely had to seize it. And after this war, even if the world government wants to form an army, it will take a year. In this year, the Revolutionary Army could liberate most of South Blue and further expand the size of the army. On the 23rd night when Andre stayed in the epidemic area, the Revolutionary Army suddenly launched a night attack under the cover of darkness. This night, the screams of killing resounded throughout the world. This night, there were corpses everywhere, and rivers of blood flowed. This night, Sophia's beauty turned pale. That night, Casti panicked. That night, Andre slept soundly. It's dawn, Olivia gets up and makes breakfast. Monet, Khalifa, bring a basin of wash water. Kid, if you dare to sleep in, go and help with cooking. Andre lazily directed Olivia and others to do things, while he was still half lying on the ground, unwilling to get up. Lai Chuang is the most enjoyable thing in the day. Mr. Andre, we're running out of grain, and in a few days it might be. Olivia said to Andre with a worried look. Don't worry, count the time, it should be almost there. Andre said with a yawn. What time? Olivia asked in confusion. The time when the Revolutionary Army launched an attack should be these few days. It may be last night, it may be today, or it may be tomorrow. Who cares? Anyway, we will leave here the day after tomorrow and go to Port Kaye. Andre replied confidently. Road. At this time Kid came over again, and when he heard Andre's words, he asked with a sullen face, Andre, why are you sure? Why, that's easy. Come over here and I'll tell you. Andre said, and hooked his finger at Kid. Kid nodded subconsciously, then put his ear to Andre's side. But after waiting for a long time, Kid didn't hear Andre speak. Andre, why didn't you speak? Kid asked angrily. Little devil, you have to think about these things before you understand, but you are still young, so you don't need to know these things. Andre smiled, then rubbed Kid's cheek. You're kidding me again. Kid angrily fled from Andre's clutches. I'm not kidding you, and I'm doing it for your own good. Andre explained with a serious face. Liar. Andre, you're a big liar. Kid raised his hand and pointed at Andre angrily. Hey, Hey, what a big liar, I'm the most honest person in the world. After Andre finished speaking, he hooked at Kid. Come here, sit next to me. I can't go. If you don't come again, I'll take off your trousers and flick your little chick. You bully people. Kid's heart throbbed at the thought of the new punishment Andre had tried on him during this period of time. Kid was sitting next to Andre. Andre raised his hand and put it on his head. Listen, be a strong man. Before you become a strong man, forget all distractions, because the more you think the slower your progress in martial arts. Quote. Andre's words are somewhat similar to what Rayleigh taught Luffy at the time. In the 2 years of practice, Luffy forgot about Ace's death, stopped thinking about his companions, and concentrated on his cultivation. Only then did he achieve the greatest improvement in the shortest time. And Andre's penance on a desert island was the same, sweating like rain every day, scarred and teetering on the brink of death. But the effect is very good. In 2 years, Andre has successfully transformed from a child who needs to rely on Whitebeard to protect him to become a strong man who can be on his own. Is this really the case? Kid nodded indifferently. Although his mind was relatively precocious, he was still a child, and he couldn't understand the big truth. No matter how much Andre said, it was useless. I used to be like this. I drink, fight and train every day. I don't care about other things. In the next 2 years, only boring training is left. But well, man, if you want to achieve your goals, you have to endure this. It's lonely. I'm optimistic about you, Kid. Andre said, and started rubbing Kid's little face again. Although Kid's little face is not white, tender, the hand feeling when rubbed is quite good. Before the change, if Kid was rubbed by Andre like this, he would have fled immediately, and then yelled at him. But now, Kid didn't run away, but stared at Andre with burning eyes. Andre, can I really be as strong as you? Well, it's hard to say. After all, personal talent and acquired hard work determine future achievements. Your talent is not bad, but compared with me, you are still a lot worse. Then I'll work harder than you. After Kid finished speaking, he knelt down on the ground, then slammed his head 3 times at Andre, and then raised his head. I, Eustace Kid, began to worship Edward Andre today, and swore that I will surpass him in the future. Chapter 384. The forest is big and there are all kinds of birds. Port Kaye, Tenryubito is gone, the revolutionary army is here. However, these have little effect on the people of Port Kaye. Because no matter who occupies this place, life here will not change much. And in the most luxurious restaurant in Port Kaye, Andre and his party were eating and drinking without any image. Although there is food in the epidemic area, most of them are dry food that is easy to store, and the taste are terrible. Mr. Andre, it's not good for us to do this. Olivia looked a little strange. She knew very well that their trouser pockets were cleaner than their faces. Don't worry, there will be no problem. But now this is an area occupied by the Revolutionary Army, will we cause unnecessary trouble? Of course there will be no trouble. I know Dragon very well. If it gets to him, let him pay for it. After Andre finished speaking, he put down the wine barrel in his hand, and then waved to the waiter, 10 more plates of roast meat, and 5 barrels of rum. The waiter looked at the empty plates at the table, most of which were eaten by Andre, and the corners of his mouth twitched, thinking, will this guy have money to pay later? Hurry up and serve the wine and meat, dare to make my master wait for a long time, be careful that this uncle burns down your shop. At this time, Kid yelled at the waiter. Kid, you are still a child, how can you talk like that? Olivia frowned, trying to guide Kid in the direction of being a good guy. At the same time, she gave Andre a look and glanced at Kid on the side, meaning to let Andre take care of him. Unexpectedly, Andre didn't care, patted Kid's head, and praised, that's a good word, as a pirate, you should have such a temper. Yes, Master, I will definitely learn from Master and become an excellent pirate. Kid laughs, sips juice in his mouth, raises his glass, and imitates Andre with his juice booze. Ha 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 tilde tilde tilde, Andre couldn't help laughing. However, before the waiter brought the wine and meat to the table, outside the restaurant, a group of soldiers from the Revolutionary Army entered the restaurant. The leader of the team was a strong bald man with scars at the corners of his eyes and flesh on his face. As soon as the strong bald man entered the restaurant, he shouted loudly, "Load me all the wine and meat in your store, and I will take them away." Quote. The owner of the restaurant is a thin middle-aged man with a mustache. When he heard that the general of the Revolutionary Army was coming to buy wine and meat, and he wanted so much in one breath, he naturally smiled and flattered to the general, "General, please wait a moment, I will arrange it right away." "Hurry up, if you delay Lao Su's time, be careful that Lao Su will execute you." The general speaks in a very arrogant manner. Yes, this is the arrangement, I will do it for you as soon as possible." The restaurant owner smiled apologetically and urged his staff to load the wine and meat into the car. Watching the barrels of wine being removed, Andre's brows immediately furrowed. But before Andre squeaked, he saw Kid standing on the chair and slapped the table heavily. Bang! After a muffled sound, everyone's eyes were focused on Kid. "Wait, these wines belong to my master, and no one can take them away." Kid's words first made the whole restaurant quiet, but soon there was a lot of laughter. "Little devil, who are you? Now this city is the territory of our Revolutionary Army, and all the resources here are allocated by us, understand?" The soldiers behind the bald general laughed and looked at Kid jokingly. "My apprentice is right, all the wine here is mine. If you want to drink it, you can change it." After Andre finished speaking, he raised a finger, "Give you 10 seconds to get out of my way." "Boy, you are courting death. Do you know whose turf is here?" These revolutionary soldiers, like the bald generals, were full of arrogance, and when they heard Andre's harsh words, they immediately pulled out the saber from his waist. Don't do it, let's talk about any misunderstandings, don't do it." Restaurant owner was shocked and frightened, but he still tried to persuade Andre and the Revolutionary Army not to have a conflict. After all, this is his restaurant. If someone dies or destroys the restaurant, no one will come to compensate him for his losses. But the bald general didn't take Andre's warning seriously at all, and saw that he first pushed the restaurant owner away with his hands, then strode towards Andre, and said as he walked, "Boy, what's your name? How dare you talk to me?" Beast Ripper Petinen said that. "What are you, dare to talk to my master like this? My master is..." Before Kid could announce Andre's name, he was dragged down by Andre. At this time, Andre looked at Pei Dinin. "For the sake of my friendship with Dragon, if you leave a hand today, then the matter of you offending me will be over." "You know Captain Dragon." Pei Dinin was stunned for a moment, and then burst into laughter. "Boy, you have to target your bragging rights. How could Commander Dragon know you? The boss is right, with a woman and 3 children. Wearing a mask to pretend to be a hermit. Boy, get out of here with your women and children, or else." "Ah." Before the soldier could finish speaking, Andre threw the knife and fork out of his hand, shot directly between his eyebrows and pierced his head. "Boy, how dare you?" Pei Dinin looked at Andre in disbelief, not expecting that he would dare to kill people on the territory of the Revolutionary Army. "If you take a big step, it's easy to pull the egg. Dragon, the site is big and there are many people, but Linzita has all kinds of birds, and you are also mixed in." After Andre finished speaking, he suddenly threw a punch and hit Pei Dinin in the face. The punch didn't use much force, but the fist was still deeply embedded in Pei Dinin's face and swelled, denting his facial features. "Kill him and avenge the boss. Don't be afraid, this is our place. Go and call someone to surround this restaurant." Seeing that Pei Dinin was knocked out by a punch, the soldiers under Pei Dinin did not flee, but made countermeasures at the first time. "Khalifa, Monet, they handed you over to play. Remember to use what I taught you, this time is considered today's quiz." After Andre finished speaking, he patted Kid's shoulder and said, "Remember. If you don't have the strength, don't come out and pretend, you will die." "Oh, I see," Kid nodded forcefully. Chapter 385 Doji Urine. In Deira City, Dragon was already very busy at this time. After all, it was a huge amount of work to incorporate the defeated army and re-register them. And since the death of Fold-Yawu, there have been many problems within the revolutionary army. It turns out that many things, Dragon can be handed over to Fold-Yawu. And Fold-Yawu is only useful, and has a very accurate eye for people. Who is suitable for what to do, who can do what, he can arrange it properly. Although Fold-Yawu always said that he had accumulated experience in business, Dragon felt that Fold-Yawu had insight and innate commanding power. But because of Andre, Fold-Yawu died, and the top cadres of the revolutionary army were dissatisfied with Fold-Yawu's behavior of hiding his strength. They all believed that Fold-Yawu was supporting it with ambition. Revolutionary. Therefore, Sharna began to not be reused, or rather, Dragon began to gradually alienate Sharna. Although Sharna was angry, she stopped appearing after a disturbance at the headquarters of the revolutionary army. Without the support of the talents of Fold-Yawu, the revolutionary army seemed to be in a state of power, liberating many kingdoms one after another. But this is only superficial. Because fighting requires money, food, medicine, weapons and ammunition, and various military supplies. In addition, the soldiers killed and wounded need pensions. By Fold-Yawu. Now what? All these things fell on the cadres of the revolutionary army. And how many of these cadres are professional? All of them were halfway monks and enthusiastic young people who joined the revolution. When it comes to personal combat strength, it is still remarkable, but to let them govern the place is pure nonsense. Now, after the reorganization of the revolutionary army is over, the next step is to attack the entire South Blue. However, where to get medicine, food, and military supplies? The revolutionary army is not a pirate, and cannot loot like a pirate, but if you don't loot, you can only buy it with money. But where to buy it? This is not a child's cold, it's as simple as going to the clinic to see a doctor and getting medicine. During the war, the sea was blocked by marine, making it difficult for cargo ships to enter. Formerly Fold-Yawu had access to South Blue by smuggling. And now Dragon really can't find Sharna. Where can I find a channel? As for South Blue's black market. The black market is open to anyone, as long as you have the money you can buy what you want. But how long can the revolutionary army's wealth be sustained? What should I do when I run out of money? Soldiers can't be allowed to go to the battlefield hungry, bare-handed, and full of blood. The news that the general of the revolutionary army of Port Kaye had been killed spread like wildfire. The news quickly spread throughout the city, and then reached Dragon's ears. What happened again? Who is that Pedinin? Dragon asked with a dark face. The revolutionary army cadres in the office all looked at each other in dismay, and finally Ivankov said in his ear, "The dead man is called Pedinin. He used to be a bandit. When he heard that we were going to overthrow the world government, he joined us, but his subordinates, although he did not observe military discipline, he was quite brave in battle, and this time when he attacked Port Kaye, his troops were the first to attack the city." Quote. What else? This time he was buying wine in the restaurant, and because he wanted to buy all the wine, he had a conflict with a guest in the restaurant and was killed. Where is the man who killed him now? Still in Porto Kaye. Did you get caught? That's not true. Listening to the news from Port Kaye, it was the man who killed 300 or 400 people in one go. After killing Pedinin's men, he was terrified, and then he released a message to see you. Well, I'll go see him. I'll see who it will be. After Dragon left the office with a dark face, he brought a few cadres and rode to Port Kaye. The port of Kaye is now under martial law, and tens of thousands of soldiers of the revolutionary army have surrounded the port of Kaye. But Andre was already in the restaurant in the city, and he didn't plan to leave at all. Master, when are we fleeing? No, it's a strategic shift. Kid quietly glanced at the crowd of Revolutionary Army soldiers outside the window, and then asked in a low voice. What's the matter? Are you afraid? Andre patted Kid on the head and asked. I'm not afraid, this uncle is the future One Piece king of pirates. Kid pouted and said. Ha ha. Andre chuckled, then said to Kid. Don't worry, they won't dare to attack, at least they won't dare to come here until Dragon comes here. Master, are you really familiar with Dragon? Kid has heard the name of Dragon, and heard that Dragon is tall and big, kills like numb, and is also a ruthless character. Familiar. Have you met a few times? Andre said, and patted Kid's head. Go, stand on the windowsill, and take a dip in front of the soldiers below. Master, can you not go? Kid felt a little scared when he thought of the forest of swords and guns outside. Cut, which Kid said he wasn't afraid just now. Now you know he's cowardly. Whoever is afraid, who is cowardly, I will go now. Kid was shocked by Andre's words, and immediately walked to the windowsill, and then climbed up on the windowsill. At this time, the Revolutionary Army outside the restaurant raised their heads and looked at Kid. Kid's legs were trembling, and if someone shot him, he'd be dead. Seeing that Kid didn't move, Andre said coldly, if you want to be the top powerhouse in the world, you must have the heart of a lunatic and be fearless. If you don't dare, then don't try to surpass me. I will definitely surpass you. Kid made up his mind and put his hand on the zipper of his pants. When the little kake swayed in the air, the soldiers below yelled at each other. Some even raised their guns at Kid. If it weren't for Andre's reasons, the soldiers would have fired. What's the matter? Now can't come out because of it. I'm brewing. Then you keep brewing. Andre shook his head slightly, while Olivia was speechless. Andre's way of teaching disciples is really special. Coincidentally, when Kid finally felt that he was going to vent, Dragon just brought someone over. Whoops, Ivankov and a few Revolutionary Army cadres were directly spilled by a dab of doji urine. You little bastard. Ivankov and other Revolutionary Army cadres were furious and rushed into the restaurant. But as soon as they entered the restaurant, they heard a light cough. What are you going to do to my apprentice? It's Andre. Chapter 386 Chronic Poison. As soon as they heard Andre's voice, Ivankov and the others were depressed. If it was someone else, things would be easy today, just beat him hard to get his face back and it would be over. But the other side was Andre, the monster who once fought Folvyar and destroyed the city of Saint Perdon. If you fight him, then Port Kaye is estimated to be destroyed as well. Dragon was relieved, though, because he knew something about Andre. If Andre really wants to get along with the Revolutionary Army, he will not come to him, but directly kill the Revolutionary Army in Port Kaye, and then go directly to him. Andre, what are you doing with me? As Dragon said, he walked over to Andre and sat opposite Andre. This man is Dragon. To Khalifa, who has seen Dragon, others such as Olivia, Monet, and Kid are very surprised. Because Dragon is definitely the overlord of South Blue now. The three of them had never imagined that they would be able to sit with such a big man. Although Andre is also a big man, Dragon now sits on the territory of 13 kingdoms of South Blue, and has more than 800,000 revolutionary troops under his command. Compared with him, Andre's territory in the Great Route is much smaller. Your revolutionary army is in bad shape right now. Andre pushed a jug of wine to Dragon, and then broke his fingers and said this, disturbing the people, looting, the military discipline is poor. I think you, the leader of the revolutionary army, will soon become the leader of the bandits. As soon as Andre said these words, Ivankov and other revolutionary army cadres looked ugly. I will rectify it. Dragon did not deny that the revolutionary army has now expanded, and it is normal for the good and the bad to vary. After all, those who took the initiative to join the revolution, Dragon can't keep them out. And people like Pei Dinan, although their military discipline is a bit poor, but on the battlefield, they are all plug-and-play combat power, which is much more reliable than those who lack training. I believe you will fix it, but can you really fix it? Andrei smiled noncommittally. It should be possible. Hee, we all understand people. You were just a vice admiral when you were in Marine. Although your personal strength is not weak, your commanding ability is really terrible. Andrei didn't save Dragon's face at all, not only made Dragon a little unstoppable, but even Ivankov, the Revolutionary Army cadres, had a fire in their hearts. The master humiliated his ministers and died. Dragon was the leader of the Revolutionary Army and the soul of the Revolutionary Army. Being scolded by Andrei like this, the entire Revolutionary Army had no light in their faces. Dragon's self-restraint is still good, although he had the urge to beat Andrei, but he still held back. What are you trying to say? I'll ask you a question first. You ask. If you were a man dying of thirst in the desert, and you met a man who gave you a bottle of water with a chronic poison, would you drink it? Dragon frowned. What do you mean? You answer my question directly, to drink or not to drink. If I were you, I would drink it without hesitation, and when I have the strength, I will kill the man and get the antidote from him. Andrei grinned Isho, then gently shook the wine glass in his hand. People, not only think about the future, but also look at the present. The Revolutionary Army now has a lot of people, but the military discipline is poor and chaotic, and the barracks can't even supply wine and meat. The Revolutionary Army at this time is like someone dying of thirst in the desert. Ivankov and others all opened their mouths. They didn't expect Andrei to speak so directly. Don't blame me for speaking badly. The reason why the Revolutionary Army has developed to this point is to resist the tyranny of the world government, but when the Revolutionary Army started to rely on looting to maintain its maintenance, the righteousness of the Revolutionary Army was lost. The stains are not far from extinction. Quote. After Andrei finished speaking, he looked at Dragon playfully. Dragon was silent. In fact, he already understood what Andrei meant by chronic poison. This is also the question Dragon has been thinking about, whether to accept the remnants of Foldyawu into the Revolutionary Army again. And as Andrei alluded to, the remnants of Foldyawu are a chronic poison. Although they can help the Revolutionary Army win, they are also a major hidden danger for the Revolutionary Army, and they may seize the fruits of the revolution in the future. As a leader, you have to be more decisive, and you should be persistent, and you will suffer from the chaos. Andrei chuckled, then patted Khalifa and Kid's little heads. Let's go, we're done talking, we should get out of here too. Why help me? As soon as Andrei left his seat, Dragon stood up and asked. In Dragon's view, Andrei is not a person who likes to meddle in other people's business, and in the future, after the Revolutionary Army defeats the world government and establishes a new government, it will never let pirates at sea affect stability, so the Revolutionary Army and pirates will definitely be hostile in the future. With a smile on his lips, Andrei said without turning his head, can you help you? Haha, because the Revolutionary Army is also an indispensable element in this troubled time. Without you, this troubled time would be a little less exciting. Is that so? Dragon frowned, not believing Andrei's reasoning could be that simple. I don't care if you believe it or not, but well, some things need time to verify. After Andrei finished speaking, he left the restaurant with the group. As soon as they left the restaurant, the Revolutionary Army outside set up their swords and guns one after another, as if they were facing a great enemy. Hey, you bastards, get out of the way of Lao Su, or else you will all die. As soon as Andrei said these words, the Revolutionary Army immediately rioted, and many people subconsciously avoided the streets. It's amazing. Kid looked at Andrei with admiration and thought, is this the reputation of a tyrant? Are you amazing? When you have the strength, you can walk sideways wherever you go. Andrei patted Kid's head and strode forward. Dragon, do you really want to let them go? Ivankov had a solemn look on his face, and he had a hunch that Andrei's future would be a big problem for the Revolutionary Army. Hey, Dragon sighed and looked at Andrei's back as he left. Ignore the future and focus on the present. After a sigh, Dragon said to Ivankov, go find Sharna and ask them to come back. Chapter 387 One Piece. From the port of Kaye to port of London, there was basically no trouble except for some thieves who didn't know whether to live or die. As for the Revolutionary Army, after getting Dragon's order, they didn't dare to come to find something. But trouble arose not long after the boat left port of London. This trouble may have been waiting at sea for days, waiting for the day when Andrei went to sea. Andrei, you lowly, despicable fellow, this time you can't escape, this palace will kill you here. Sophia is wearing a battle armor and holding a trident, just like a Valkyrie. Behind Sophia, Casti also held a trident with a grin. I am sorry, these mad dogs haven't left yet. Andrei wasn't worried about not being able to beat Sophia and Casti beside her, but it was the sea now, and the other party had 5 warships. And what about Andrei? The old sailing cargo ship, although it is no problem to take it to the Great Route, but after a round of shelling, then. At this time, Sophia waved her hand and ordered 5 warships to prepare for a salvo. Andrei's strength is indeed not weak, Sophia admits this, but this is the sea, and Andrei is a devil fruit person, and this sea is his burial place. Fire! With Sophia's order. Hundreds of artillery salvos fired, and hundreds of artillery shells came in like a swarm. The naval battle is really a headache. Andrei immediately roared, and under the explosion, the collapsing energy in the sound wave spread, and all the shells in the air exploded. Humph! Sophia snorted coldly and continued to wave, empty all the shells. Damn it, is it over yet? Andrei had to keep yelling, but it was exhausting work, and his voice couldn't take it any longer. Andrei, are we going to die here? Monet asked, clenching his hands. Everyone on the deck stared with bated breath, their hearts pounding. Of course not, I am Edward Andrei, how can he die here? But we are their target now. That's temporary. Can you get out of here? Not yet. Just as Andrei finished speaking, the next round of shelling came again. The power of the salvo of 5 warships is not trivial. As long as it is hit by one round, the cargo ship will sink into the sea. However, as soon as this round of shelling ended, several pirate ships flying the pirate flag approached on the sea. The pirate flags on these 6 pirate ships have a common feature, that is, an additional logo of the Whitebeard pirates. Brother Andrei, we are here to support you. One of the pirates from one of the ships shouted at the cargo ship. Master, who are they? Your little brother, Kid asked excitedly. I don't know. Andrei scratched his head. He didn't seem to have these little brothers in his mind. Could it be that he forgot? Just when Andrei was puzzled, a pirate on a boat shouted at Andrei, Brother Andrei, we have always admired you. Before Andrei could speak, Sophia roared angrily, these vile pirates. Destroy them too. Brother Andrei, please get on our boat. At this time, one of the 6 pirate ships approached Andrei, and the other 5 ships began shelling the 5 warships. Although I don't know who you are, I feel your sincerity. Andrei said something casually, and took people to the pirate ship. Andrei got on the ship. A pirate wearing a captain's hat and a red-brown cloak walked up to Andrei and said respectfully, Brother Andrei, I'm Desno, the captain of the Red Arrow Pirates, my little brother. I heard that you were here when I was shopping for supplies in Port Kaye, so I came here specially to meet you. Quote. Desno, you used to be Marine, right? Andrei asked. Brother Andrei, you are so amazing, you can see it at a glance. A lot of people on your boat are wearing Marine's suits, and I'm not blind. Andrei pointed to the minions behind Desno and said. Those scoundrels scratched their heads embarrassedly. And where would the pirates set up a bombardment formation? Andrei said, sat on the captain's seat, and then said to Desno, Tell me, you came to me with so much effort, what do you want? I don't like to owe people's favor. Brother Andrei, we never intended to reciprocate. Men, just do it, you can say whatever you want, I'm not a stingy person. If Brother Andre said so, then I have a request. Request? What request? Please introduce me to join the Pirate League. Pirate League? What the hell is that? Andre was confused. Could it be that he stayed in the epidemic area for a month, and there was another major incident at sea? Brother Andre, the chief representative of the Pirate Alliance is you. Chief representative? Why didn't I know? Before Andre could figure out the problem, the 5 pirate ships interspersed flexibly and in a roundabout way, exerting the power of the naval guns on board to the extreme, and abruptly blasting the new warships brought by the 5 Tenryubito into thick smoke. Zizuzhui, it's incredible, you guys used to be the elite Marines of South Blue, right? And they're still very powerful ones, right? Andre watched Sophia's flagship smoke, and Sophia's eyes on the deck were about to burst into flames. Although the battleship is still capable of fighting, if it continues to be hit by shells, the battleship is in danger of sinking. Elite. That's the past, and I don't want to mention the reason. Oh, it's inconvenient to say. That's too lazy to ask. Now let's talk about what happened to the Pirate Alliance. The Pirate Alliance was jointly launched by several pirate groups in the New World, including the Whitebeard Pirates. Did Dad get involved? Andre Vivi frowned, then asked, besides, what else do you know? The Pirate Alliance usually has no binding force on the pirates, but after joining the alliance, once Marine launches an attack on any member, other members must unconditionally support them. Of course, they cannot go, but if they don't go, they will be regarded as an alliance enemy. Oh, can you still play like this? Andre tapped the handle of the chair lightly, but in his heart he was wondering who the Pirate League had come up with. Chapter 388 Ship Review. Sophia suffered a loss in the naval battle. Although she was a little unwilling, she still retreated. And Andre also took the ship of the Red Arrow Pirates to the Great Route. Is this the Upside Down Mountain? It's amazing and spectacular. Kid Xiao Penyu was taken aback on the deck, but he didn't blame him. People who entered Upside Down Mountain for the first time reacted like this. Are you sure you want to follow us on the Great Route? Andre asked Olivia. Yeah, Olivia nodded first, and then said firmly, although my companions have been arrested, but I want to fulfill their sustenance, I must uncover the blank 100-year history. But what about little Robin? You really plan to keep her free? Robin, she should stay away from this. Looking at Olivia with a sad face, Andre already understood that Olivia Tilda fostered little Robin again. Only away from her, away from history, that little Robin can grow up safely. But the question is, will Robin really stay away? Andre is very clear, little Robin has inherited Olivia completely, and he is devoted to the study of history. Not long after entering the Great Route, Andre got in touch with Team Zero. This shocked Monet and others, and Kid even looked at Andre with admiration, with little stars in his eyes. What's this? I'm not bragging, I just need a word to get the pirates in the first half of the Great Route to see me. Andre was a little dissatisfied with the surprised expressions of Olivia and the others. You must know that he is the tyrant Andre, and the name of the Emperor of Evil is not shouted indiscriminately. As long as Andre raises his arm, countless vicious pirates will swarm. The appeal brought by that fame is unmatched by any pirate today. Yeah, Brother Andre is now the most influential pirate, second only to Whitebeard in the ranking of pirates. Desno agreed. Oh, is there a ranking? Andre had just mentioned it casually. Yes, now in the Great Route's pirate power rankings, Brother Andre, you are ranked second, and in the influence rankings, you are ranked first. Desno replied. Andre asked again, who is number 3 on the fame list? The third is Golden Lion, the fourth is Kaido of the Beasts, the fifth is Charlotte Linlin, the sixth is Shanks with red hair, the seventh is Burndy Walder, the eighth is Earl of Red, the third is the ninth is Greg the Beastmaster, and the 10th is... Wait, Beastmaster Greg, who is that guy? I don't know about this either, but his fame has grown rapidly, and he now occupies a large area in the New World. Interesting, is this guy a monkey? One popped out of nowhere. Andre's time in the New World was not short. He also had some contact with the big pirates in the New World, but Greg, the Beastmaster, had never heard his name. Greg, he is also one of the representatives of the Pirate League. Is his strength also on the strength list? Well, his strength ranks 10th, and only the big pirates who are on the strength list and the fame list at the same time are qualified to be representatives. Then does this representative have any privileges? The representative has the right to review whether the pirates who have entered the Great Route are eligible to join the alliance. Interesting, what about my chief representative? You have 2 votes, one more than the other delegates, and you have the right to propose twice a year to add or remove league rules. Make it so democratic. Andre squinted, he was more and more curious now who proposed this pirate league. While Andre and Desno continued to talk about the pirate alliance, the sails of the warships covered the sun on the sea ahead. The flags of the Zero Squadron were hoisted on these warships. The flagship and secondary ships of Team Zero always remain at the forefront of this huge fleet. A lot, Master, is your fleet. Kid's eyes were straight, and he couldn't help thinking, when will I be able to have such a large fleet? At this time, the fleet separated, and the ships were lined up neatly, as if waiting for Andre's inspection. This scene shocked the Red Arrow pirates who used to be the elite marine of South Blue. You must know that pirates have no discipline at all, and it is even worse when fighting at sea. In the past, warships were swarmed, and they would not set up shelling formations at all. On the other hand, Team Zero not only has such a huge fleet, but also makes every warship stand neatly like a queue, which is simply incredible. It's amazing. Mention Kid, even Olivia was shocked. HMPH. That must be powerful. I'm a tyrant, how can I go out without the face to show off the pomp? Andre was very proud, but Team Zero had to struggle a lot in order to satisfy Andre's so-called fleet review. Because of this incident, Basil often complained about Andre. But Andre still went his own way, responding to Basil with the phrase, "Which Emperor's honor guard have you seen going out?" Well, Basil didn't speak at all, leaving Andre to toss. It took nearly 2 years of tossing around like this, and during this period, I don't know how many warships were sent to the capital of Seven Waters for overhaul, and only then did the neat battleship Phalanx in front of me come out. Welcome back, boss. Welcome back, boss. Welcome back, boss. When the battleship of the Red Arrow pirates passed by, there was a welcome sound like a tsunami of mountains and tsunamis from the battleship Phalanx. It's great, Master, this feels great. Kid felt like his eardrums were about to burst, but the experience made his blood boil. At this time the flagship and the secondary ship approached. It's Carlos, Harold, Ryugu, Ruka, Shadow, Barbarossa, Fujiwara Akina, Anastasia, Mahawk, Dory, Brigitte. Kid's eyes swept across a person's face, and when he saw the epaulets on their bodies and the capes on their backs, he had an indescribable envy. Because the people who can become vice captains in the Zero team are all strong men who are vertical and horizontal. Boss, your clothes. Andre with a brand new cape in his hands. Whoa the cloak flicked in his hand, and then draped it over Andre's body dashingly. I am finally back. Andre put on his cape, and then shouted in the direction of the array. Little boys, have a banquet tonight, make all the noise, drink all the time, and have all the fun. Long live the boss. Long live the boss. Chapter 389. The first strike is stronger. Since Andre was back, the banquet was inevitable. However, Team Zero has no fixed station now, so it can only find an island at random. Although there are many pirates on this island on weekdays, the residents of the island are also used to pirates landing on the island. However, when such a large fleet of Team Zero approached, the residents of the island were terrified. Especially the fan flag of Team Zero is so dazzling. Tyrant, here comes the tyrant. Run for your life. Don't stand in my way, let me go first. There was chaos on the island, and everyone was extremely frightened, scrambling to get on the boat and leave. But it's not their fault. After all, Andre's notoriety is huge in the world, and he has done a lot of things like slaughtering the city and destroying the island. Master, I will definitely be more powerful than you in the future, and make everyone who hears my name freak out. Kid was lying on the side of the boat, watching the islanders fleeing from the island, and he couldn't help but start to fantasize about the future. Yeah, Andre rubbed Kid's cheek. Well, I will definitely surpass the master. I will become the One Piece King of Pirates, the villain that the whole world is afraid of. The tone is not small, but if you want to be a villain, you must first drink well. Come and drink this pot of wine. Andre said, and handed the jug to Kid. Drink it. Kid took the jug and poured it into his mouth. However, a child is a child after all, and when a child drinks alcohol, it is not only choking but choking. Kid, who was choked and coughed continuously, Carlos and the others were forced to laugh out loud. Okay, don't spoil the wine if you can't drink it. Andre took the jug back and strode off the island. Although the residents of the island have escaped, the supplies on the island are still kept, and there are plenty of wine, meat and ingredients. After a while, the bonfire was raised. After the banquet started, Andre called all the vice captains together, and then he took the lead to ask Basil, answer my question, what's going on with the Pirate League this time? Basil shrugged. It was only half a month ago that news came from the New World that the major pirate groups established this pirate alliance with the aim of joining forces against Marine. Andre asked suspiciously, has Marine been strong lately? It is appropriate to say strong words. How to say? Without waiting for Basil to answer, Luyu said, Marine has killed more than 40 pirate groups in one go in the past few months, and many of these pirate groups have a bounty of more than 5 billions. The pirate group with a bounty of more than 500 million. He killed more than 40 in one go. Andre Vivi frowned. Marines should be weak now. We don't know the specific situation. During this time, we have been following your instructions, boss, and wandering on the Great Route, and Marine is also strange. After chasing us for more than a month, he will leave us alone. It's interesting, Marine can actually put so much pressure on the major pirate groups. Andre then slapped his big legs, then stood up, holding his glass high. Little guys, it's been a long time since you had a fight with Marine. Do you want the feeling of bloodbath? Boss, I've been waiting for your order. Boss, as long as you say a word, we're going to level Marineford now. Killed that group of fur seals and chased us for more than a month. The minions of the pirate group affiliated to the Zero team were excited, shouting and cursing while holding up their wine and meat. Very good. Andre's eyes swept across the faces of everyone. Seeing that the morale was still there, he didn't say more, then sat down and continued to ask, by the way, what happened to the proposal of the chief representative of the Pirate Alliance? According to the news from Father Whitebeard, it is said that this alliance will hold a meeting on the 15th of every month, and the meeting is basically for Marine's decision-making, and each decision requires more than half of the approval, that is, 6 votes, and you have 2 votes. As long as 4 people agree to the resolution you propose, it will pass. Quote. Oh, it's really a democratic vote. Pirates are also fashionable now. After listening to Luyu's explanation, Andre himself couldn't believe it. He had to know that any conflicts between pirates were solved with fists, and things that could be solved with hands, never had to speak. Basil said, but this also proves that Marine has put a lot of pressure on the major pirate groups during this time. What do you think could be the reason? Andre asked Basil, as Lucas had an undercover in Marine. The reason? It's nothing more than the world's conscription, and what you call the world's government's black technology. No news from Lucas either. I don't know, this time Marine is very mysterious, and no news has been released. It may be a secret force independent of the headquarters. Is it a secret force independent of the headquarters? Andre Vivi frowned. Which one do you think is more likely? The number of conscriptions in the marine world is not once or twice, but it did not pose a threat to pirates in the past. It is estimated that it is the reason for the black technology. Basil analyzed. The biggest problem now is that we don't know what exactly Marine is doing, but judging from the fact that they wiped out more than 40 pirate groups in one go for several months, this problem is enough to arouse the vigilance of the major pirate groups. Carlos said. Yes, boss, now the small pirate groups have sought shelter from the major pirate groups, and now they don't even dare to go out to sea to rob. Flow over the road of agreement. It's interesting. Andre scratched his head, then threw the jug in his hand, and then stood up again. Little boys, go for a walk in Marineford tonight. Ho, ho. The pirates smashed the jugs in their hands. Andre, will this be a little risky? After all, we haven't figured out what kind of power Marine has. If we attack rashly, it may be. Andre raised his hand, interrupted Basil, and then asked him, what? Will it be wiped out? I think you should go to an alliance meeting to see if there is any valuable news from other pirates, and then make a decision. How long will the meeting be? This month's meeting has been missed and we'll have to wait until next month. What if Marine comes to trouble us this month? Whatever they come up with, we at least have to figure it out first. Andre didn't like to be passive, and he didn't like to guess quizzes with Marine. Since what Marine came up with threatened the spread of troubled times, Andre had to strike first and destroy it. Chapter 390 Overwhelming Force. Once Andre made a decision, it was very difficult to change. After the banquet, all members of Team Zero boarded the ship, and the huge fleet headed towards Marineford. Along the way, facing the sea breeze, the fan flag fluttered. On the waterway, merchant ships, passenger ships, or cruising warships are unavoidable. Andre is back on the Great Route. Andre's target is Marineford. Andre is going to fight Marine again. The news of Andre's return to the Great Route spread rapidly, and the pirates and Marines on various islands were shocked. After being silent for several months, Team Zero finally showed its minions. News came back to Marineford and the Marine headquarters immediately called an emergency meeting. Marshal Sengoku, Admiral Akainu, Kuzan, Kizaru, Vice Admiral Garp, Crane, Stoyabelli, Yamakaji and others all rushed back. Kong, who was a consultant, was also present. At this time, he said with a sullen face and some anger, Andre is getting more and more arrogant. He dares to attack Marineford again before his Zero team's vitality has recovered. Crane calmly analyzed. I think he has other plans. Andre will not do such a thing that is not good for him. Humph. No matter what Andre wants to do, since he has returned to the sea and has taken the initiative to find us, Marine's justice will definitely not allow him to continue to do evil. Akainu said coldly, with strong confidence in his words. Sengoku nodded. If that's the case, then go get ready, it's time to reveal Marine's secret power to the world. What exactly is the secret power? Randy Orton Kuroba glanced at Sengoku lightly, and saw that there was no worry or panic on his face. Obviously he was very confident in the secret power in his mouth. Randy Orton Kuroba took the opportunity to find Sengoku. Black Feather, is something wrong? Sengoku still likes Kuroba. Although this guy has a hawkish style, he will ask him for many things. Only after Sengoku agrees, Kuroba will execute it. From this point alone, Sengoku felt that Kuroba was more reliable than the dead Onagumo Vice Admiral. Marshal Sengoku, I don't think this war should be fought. In the past, the war with Andre ended with our defeat. If you lose again this time, then you may be held accountable by the world government again. There was concern in Kuroba's words, which pleased Sengoku. What a good subordinate, you know how to think about him. But Sengoku just chuckled, then patted Kuroba on the shoulder and said, Don't worry, Marine won't lose this time. But, Kuroba, I know your worries, and I also know that Marine can't afford to lose, but this time is different. We have overwhelming power, Andre, which pirates can't be our opponents. I see. Seeing what Sengoku said with such certainty, while Kuroba nodded, he also thought to himself, this information must be sent back. On the sea, more than 100 warships of various types are swarming. On the flagship deck, Andre was squinting, listening to Basil read the newspaper for him. Kid is acting as a small audience, watching Carlos and others train on the boat. Monet and Khalifa peeled the fruit for him one by one and handed them the jug. This kind of life is so corrupt, so degenerate. But Andre really liked it. Blue blue tilde tilde blue blue tilde tilde. At this moment, the phone bug in Basil's arms rang. Basil took out the phone bug and picked up the receiver. The call was from Lucas, who asked Basil to remind Andre not to be so impulsive. Okay, I see. Basil put down the phone bug, then said to Andre, you heard that too. Marine seems to be fully prepared this time, waiting for you to die. They say that every time, but I'm still alive and well. Andre muttered in disapproval, then spit out the grape seeds in his mouth. This time seems to be different. The undercover news is that Marine has overwhelming power. Overwhelming power. Andre tapped the chair lightly with his fingers, then yelled, knock. Knock trotted over immediately. You scout around Marineford. Yes, boss. Knock responded, and then turned into a vulture and flew high. Flying. Boss, what's the matter? You take 10 ships and leave first, and then do the ambush. After the break, Liu Yu was stunned, knowing that Team Zero basically never encountered such a thing as the break. But Liu Yu still nodded, patted his chest and said, don't worry, boss, leave this to me. Carlos, Fujiwara, Mahawk, Barbarossa. Andre called out the 4 names in one breath. Those whose names were called put down their training gear and walked behind Andre. The 4 of you led your men as pioneers, and I give you all the Frankie battle horns. Understood. Carlos and the others responded, and then went to convene to prepare. Dory, Brigitte, you take the giants under your command to guard the flagship and the auxiliary ship, and at the same time take care of the water. If the enemy is at the bottom of the sea, then you will sink it as soon as possible. Don't worry, leave it to us. Dory and Brigitte burst out laughing, then took up arms and shields to flank the flagship and secondary. Ruka, Shadow, you are ready to support Carlos and the others at any time. Understood. Luca and Ying responded at the same time. The others followed me, waiting to see what kind of surprise Marine could give us. Andre squinted, a cold light flashed in his eyes. He is ready for investigation and defense, no matter what trick Marine wants to play, just come. Hours later, Nock flew back with news that shocked everyone. Boss, Marine has a new type of battleship, a battleship that has never been seen before, all ironclad ships covered with thick steel, and the speed is extremely fast, not slower than our flagship. Nock's words shocked everyone on the deck. Ironclad. Is this Marine's overwhelming power? Andre frowned secretly. He felt that it shouldn't be that simple. Even if Marine built a battleship that spanned the ages, it shouldn't have an overwhelming effect in the face of absolute power. Come on. Just as Andre was thinking, the shadow watching from the mast suddenly shouted, Marine is here. Chapter 391 Scary Battleship. Marine's roster this time around isn't as big as it used to be. The headquarters only dispatched a total of 60 warships. From the perspective of the number of ships, it is far less than the Zero team. But Andre knew one thing, the quality of the ships of Team Zero was far inferior to that of Marine. Especially the 3 ironclad ships that Marine dispatched this time. These 3 ironclad ships are not covered with iron sheets on the wooden sailboats, they are purely made of steel, and their defense is far superior to any ships of the Zero Squadron. And these 3 ironclad ships broke away from Marine's fleet group and stopped 20 nautical miles from the Zero Squadron fleet group. What are they going to do? Shouldn't it be to form an array there? It looks like the bombardment is about to start. At such a distance, can their naval guns reach us? Just when the pirates of Team Zero were puzzled, the naval guns on the 3 ironclad ships were slowly launched. Long barrels, 18 inches in caliber. Shoot! Sengoku on Marine's flagship gave the order to fire, and the 3 ironclads began to fire in salvo. Boom, boom, boom. In an instant, the fire soared into the sky, and several artillery shells shot out angrily. The whole sky was echoed with the sound of the roar of cannons. The shells fell into the rear of the Zero Squadron fleet at great speed. In the blink of an eye, several warships turned into a mass of fire. How is it possible? My God, how could Marine's guns have such a terrifying range? How can we fight this? We're all targets. The pirates of Team Zero looked panicked. Perhaps today's battle will be a nightmare they will never forget. Basil walked behind Andre and whispered, "Andre, order the retreat, we have no chance of winning." Andre murmured, "Such a large caliber gun is still a salvo, which ironclad warships just stood up." "Do you still want to fight?" Basil asked in surprise. "Those 3 iron lumps shouldn't be their trump card. If that's the case, then Dad wouldn't join forces with the pirates of the New World to create the Pirate Alliance." Andre said calmly. "Whether it is or not, you have also seen the attack power of these 3 warships. That is not something that our wooden warships can resist." Carlos, Barbarossa, Mahawk, Akamura Fujiwara attack. Instead of retreating at Basil's advice, Andre ordered an attack. "Little ones, kill this group of Marines." Carlos raised his gun, raised his arms and shouted. In an instant, nearly 100 French battleships sprang out like sharp arrows, attacking Marine at an extremely fast speed. "Andre, are you still going to give up?" Sengoku Vivi Isho then waved his hand, and the adjutant beside him picked up the microphone and informed the ships to separate. The warships broke apart at once, leaving the 3 ironclads alone there. "What's the matter?" "I don't know, Marine isn't going crazy, is he?" "Be careful. It doesn't matter, kill it first and have a look." Carlos and the others looked at each other in dismay. Although they didn't understand what Marine was going to do, since they had vacated their positions, the 3 ironclad ships that had lost their protection were their dishes. But is it really so? The 3 ironclads didn't move, they didn't shoot at Carlos and others at all, they just stopped there quietly. "Andre, there's a trick to it," Basil said sullenly. "What exactly does Marine want to do?" Just when Andre was puzzled, Carlos was the first to jump on the ironclad. "Children, be careful." While speaking, Carlos picked up the gun and vigilantly looked for the location of the hatch. But before they could find the location of the hatch, the armor of the ironclad ship suddenly rose, revealing rows of dense gun holes. Boom, boom, boom. The bullets shot out like a violent storm, instantly killing dozens of pirates. Armament hockeys of Carlos and others were deeply cultivated. When they discovered Yichang, they gathered armament hockey to defend them in time. But even so, he was still injured. "Withdraw, withdraw." Carlos shouted while covering the people behind him to retreat. "Not enough, not enough." Andre's face was extremely ugly. "Andre, get out, Marine is coming." Basil persuaded again. The 3 ships must be more than that, there must be more secrets. Andre thought to himself, then waved his hand. Harold, Ruka, Shadow you to support, along with Carlos and the others, continue to put pressure on Marine, and make sure to force Marine's secrets out. "Yes, boss," Harold and the others responded, then jumped on the clipper and rushed to support with their respective men. "Master, why don't you change your strategy in this situation? It's no different from letting them die," Kid asked puzzled. "Because if we don't figure it out, we're going to die more people, you understand." Andre patted Kid's head, and then shouted, "Everyone is ready, press me on it, crush Marine." Following Andre's order, the ships raised their sails and charged Marine at the fastest speed. Andre is still so persistent. But after this battle is over, Team Zero will end here. The whole ship is in an artillery formation to meet the enemy. Except for the 3 ironclads that did not shoot, the rest of the warships aimed their muzzles at the battleships of the Zero Division. Bang, bang, bang. The cannon roared, and the thick smoke from the muzzle almost blackened the sky. Under such dense artillery fire, warships continued to sink into the sea. Flutter, Andrei yelled. Crane wing formation. Surrounding the Marine. The huge fleet spread out, trying to evade the Marine's salvo as much as possible. Looks like Andrei has some good people around. He's been able to train a mob like this. Sengoku's eyes flashed with surprise, but he didn't care, because the victory in this war must belong to Marine. Matter how strong Andrei is, it doesn't help. When most of the battleships of Team Zero passed the 3 ironclad ships and approached Marine's fleet, the 3 misfired ironclads saw a big movement. I saw that the armor on the ironclad was pushed away again. This time it was not the gun hole, but the 7-inch muzzle. Although the caliber of these guns is small, it is better than the number. Shoot! Sengoku let out a loud roar into the microphone. Bang, 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 bang. The cannonballs were fired around, instantly sinking dozens of warships, and the pirates on board didn't even have a chance to escape. They were swallowed up by the fire. Chapter 392 The Ultimate Meaning, the Collapse of the Sky and the Destruction of the Earth. Technology suppressed. Andrei clenched his fists and jumped towards the ironclad. As for the shells shot at him, he took them all. You iron lump, let me sink it. With a roar, Andrei clenched his fists and slammed into the ironclad. Boom! With a loud bang, the armor of the ironclad ship sank deeply, and the whole ship suddenly deformed. But before Andrei could throw a second punch, the ironclad suddenly exploded. The sound of the explosion was deafening. The strong impact of the explosion and the seastone fragments embedded in the ironclad covered Andrei's body. In the impact of the explosion, all the surrounding ships of Team Zero were overturned. Ha ha ha, Kizaru in the distance couldn't help laughing proudly. The secret weapon of the Marine's science unit was specifically designed to target strong men like Andrei. It's like a hedgehog. If you don't move it, it will prick you. If you move it, it will prick you even more. Boss! All the pirates in Team Zero turned to look at Andrei. At this time, Andrei fell into the sea, and the surrounding pirates immediately jumped down to save him. The whole ship launched a counter-offensive. Be sure to wipe out the Zero Squadron. Sengoku won't let this opportunity pass, because if he can't annihilate Andrei this time, it will be difficult later. After all, Andrei has already figured out all the secrets of the ironclad, and it would be a fool's errand to use the same method to defeat him again. At this time, Andrei had been rescued by the pirates into a lifeboat. Boss, we'll take care of your wounds now. The pirates panicked and scrambled to remove the pieces from Andrei's body. Damn Marine, how dare you yin lousy. Andrei's eyes seemed to burst into flames. No wonder Marine was able to do so covertly. It was possible to hide this secret army for so long, because all the pirates targeted by this secret army were dead. Fortunately, Andrei's physique was strong enough and armament hockey's cultivation base was high enough, so he came over. If it were another pirate, in such a big explosion, there would have been no bones left. Boss, you go first, I'll stop later. Carlos shouted at Andrei. At this time, the Marine warship was approaching, and began to fight with the Zero team. Shut up, what does Lao Su think it is? Since Sengoku has blown all his cards, why is Lao Su still polite to him? As Andrei spoke, he forcibly tore off the shrapnel from his body. The shrapnel was still attached to the flesh, and when it was forcibly pulled off, it was bloody, making people unable to bear to look directly at it. Ah! Andrei roared up to the sky, and the muscles in his whole body swelled up, his posture like a madman, a domineering attitude like a god of war, and the aura of staring at the sky, instantly enveloped the surroundings. Sengoku! Andrei let out a loud shout, then raised his fist and slowly pulled it back like a bow. Not good. Sengoku raised his brows, and an ominous premonition struck him. The ultimate meaning of Lao Tzu's collapse energy. Do you want to try it? Ha 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 tilde tilde tilde. Andre laughed wildly, and again, no one could stand around. Rewind. For some reason, Sengoku was extremely frightened, and the ominous premonition grew stronger. Not only did Marine want to escape, but even the pirates of Team Zero avoided them far away. Escape. Do you think you can escape? Bang Jin's ultimate meaning is quite terrifying. I don't dare to use it myself, but if I don't give you a shot today, it will be hard to dispel the anger in my heart. Andre gritted his teeth, his muscles swelled to a terrible degree. If Whitebeard were here at this time, he would have noticed the similarities between Andre now and his former benefactor. Of course, this similarity does not refer to looks, but the demeanor of the two of them, the kind of determination to move forward. At this time, the sky was covered with dark clouds, the electric dragon was shuttled, and the thunder was howling. An unease from the depths of the soul was warning everyone, run away from here. 80 times the power burst. As Andre gritted his teeth and roared, the skin all over his body began to crack and blood spilled out. But Andre was unmoved. The ultimate meaning of collapsing energy, collapsing the sky and destroying the earth. Andre threw his fist in anger, and the terrifying fist pressure spread out tens of thousands of collapsing energy, and these collapsing energy were still splitting. The ultimate meaning of collapse Jin. If you want to have the power to fight against nature, you must be able to get the same power. When Andre fought against tsunamis in the past, he had seen how powerful the tsunami was. If you want to have the power to fight against the tsunami, you need not only your own strength, but also a physique that is strong enough to withstand this power. Andre finally realized the profound meaning in the fierce battles. But this profound meaning is too terrifying, and it will also cause unimaginable backlash to the body. But today, even backlash must be thrown. Because I'm the captain of Team Zero, I'm Edward Andre. The hoarse roar seems to be proclaiming to the heavens and the earth, to the gods, and to all beings. Andre's determination to never give in and never bow to fate. The muscles were torn apart inch by inch, and the bones could already be seen. However, his determination to throw a fist never wavered. Bury Lao Tzu in the sea. The sea water shattered like a smashed mirror, and Marine's warship fell into the sea in an instant. Stop him. Garp, Sora, Sengoku, Akainu, Kuzan, Kizaru, 6 admiral-level powerhouses, joined forces to gather armament hockey, trying to resist the powerful impact of this devastating place. However, Kizaru was blasted away, Kuzan was blasted away, Akainu was blasted away, Kong was blasted away, Sengoku was blasted away, and Garp was blasted away. After the 6 fell to the ground, each of them vomited blood, and the consequence of forcibly blocking Bang Jin was that their internal organs were injured. Andre continued roaring and roaring, but his fist-swinging hand finally fell weakly. Sengoku, are you still coming? I can give you another shot, do you want to try again? Hearing Andre's hideous laughter, Sengoku's eyes were split. Unwillingness and fear are two emotions swirling in my heart. Finally, Sengoku looked at the sea of wrecks and shouted, retreat. Andre was still standing there when Marine backed away. Boss, are you all right? Boss. Carlos and the others leaned over at this time. Don't touch me, let me take a breath. Andre didn't dare to move, because his body was under a load that exceeded his own limit, and his bones were now brittle. Until his body healed, he couldn't move a step, otherwise he would shatter like ceramics. Chapter 393 Add fire to troubled times. White clouds, white sea. Sky Island beach at an altitude of 10,000 meters, Andre was lying on a beach chair with bandages all over his body. 2 months ago, Andre smashed the sea with a punch, killing more than 20,000 Marine elites from the headquarters. This matter has already spread all over the world, and Andre's reputation has once again reached an unprecedented height. Perhaps for a long time, no one has been able to catch up. However, although this punch is cool, it costs a lot. Andre's body has multiple comminuted fractures and extensive necrosis of muscles. Not to mention the damage to the internal organs. This injury is very serious. If it were someone else, they would have died on the spot. Fortunately, Andre has surpassed his predecessor. Because the one who smashed the tsunami with this punch burped. In comparison, Andre is much luckier. According to the diagnosis of Gerva, Karokas, and Anastasia, Andre needs to rest for more than 2 years before he can fully recover from the injury. But before that, Andre needs to rest. The so-called rest is not doing intense exercise. Even going round and round with Makino. But is Andre the one who listens to the doctor's orders? There is meat in your mouth that you can't eat. Look at it. Andre is obviously not that kind of person, so after a year, Andre felt a little better from his injuries, and sneaked into Makino's room. Although Makino was very angry afterwards, Andre, the shameless guy, admitted his mistake and touched Makino's room the next night. Makino was completely speechless, but marrying a chicken follows a chicken, her man's virtue. Hey, he can only let him fool around. Happy mind and body, hurts heal faster. This is psychotherapy, that's how it is. Andre stroked Makino's cheek as he looked at the kids training on the beach. Hancock's talent is undeniable. But Andre found that she really had the attributes of a queen. I thought this property was activated by the original Hancock on Maiden Island. Didn't expect it to come with it. Hancock on the beach was like a big sister, reprimanding Monet and Khalifa. You're doing something wrong. Andre said, be precise and hard, like that. Hancock said, and suddenly kicked, knocking Monet to the ground. Monet was on the ground, clutching his stomach and clenching his teeth secretly. His facial features were almost squeezed together, showing how heavy Hancock's foot was. Sister Hancock, are you trying too hard? Sandersonia whispered. Sister Hancock, you did go a little too far. Marigold also muttered. Humph, who told her to not train seriously? Hancock put his hands on his waist, the little queen was full of temperament. Is it really that Monet didn't train seriously? Sandersonia, as her younger sister, knew that Hancock hated Monet and Khalifa for taking up her and Andre's time when they came back. But Hancock would not admit it, absolutely not. Moreover, Monet and Khalifa are indeed not as talented as Hancock, and there are indeed many opportunities for her to find fault. Hancock, come here. Andre saw this scene in his eyes, and then waved to Hancock. Come on. Hancock smiled immediately, trotting over to Andre. It's okay to supervise their training, but now, it needs to be harmonious, understand? Andre said while rubbing Hancock's head. But if the concubine doesn't do this, they won't train hard, and if they don't train hard, they will lose face. Hancock softly defended himself while enjoying Andre's stroking. Andre hugged Hancock to his lap, then pinched her cheek and said, I don't like people lying to me, and I don't like people doing tricks under my nose, understand? You won't let me not be happy. Andre's voice was soft, but Hancock could tell that Andre seemed angry. Then I'll be more careful next time. Hancock lowered his head, looking aggrieved. Makino couldn't bear the sarcasm, so he pushed Andre's hand and said, Hancock knows it's wrong, so don't pursue it anymore. I pursued. Andre looked at Makino dumbly. At this time Hancock also left Andre and came to Makino for comfort. Hey, Andre said his head hurts. Hancock is only so old, and he knows how to intrigue in the harem, and he has to grow up. But such a Hancock is endearing. Andre chuckled and shook his head, then said to Hancock, Okay, that's it for this morning's training, it's almost lunchtime. The ingredients on Sky Island are not rich. Fortunately, during the year, Andre asked Carlos and others to deliver the supplies in batches many times, so as to satisfy Andre's picky appetite. Wine, food, and beauties. When Andre was recovering from an injury in Wen, Ru Township, the world under 10,000 meters was not so peaceful. First, the Revolutionary Army and the warlords of South Blue started a melee, and then the Kingdom of Kansas of West Blue broke away from the world government and officially opened the world's strategy. During the year that Andre was recovering from his injury, although the major pirate groups in the New World still maintained an alliance on the surface, they were only aimed at Marine and were not binding on each other. Fight for territory, fight for devil fruit, and fight for new generation combat power. The bloody storm in the New World has not stopped, and even the dominant Whitebeard pirates are constantly being challenged. War has become the New World, and even the daily routine of the whole world. Pirates fight against Marine, pirates fight against pirates, warlords fight against Kingdom Army, warlords fight against warlords, warlords fight against Revolutionary Army. Every tragic fight, every blood flowing on the ground, and the corpses scattered all over the wilderness have become the best sustenance in the troubled times. Andre a few years ago are also thriving in the turmoil. East Blue, West Blue, South Blue, North Blue, more and more young people from all over the world who yearn for wealth and violence are pouring into the Great Route. They were born ordinary, they couldn't be careerists, they couldn't become warlords, they yearned for violence, wealth, and power, and naturally they couldn't be a revolutionary army. The threshold for pirates is low, and the sea is wider than the land, allowing them to gallop freely. Want to have wealth, fame, power? Then come to the New World. As long as you have power, you can get everything here. Andre came back from injury and then broke out the amazing quotes, adding another fire to the troubled times. Chapter 394 Tyrant vs. Beastmaster. After 2 years, Andre once again led Team Zero to return to the Great Route. This adds to an already turbulent situation. Although Marine relied on the warships of the expansion era to temporarily suppress the pirates, but unfortunately 2 years ago, the headquarters was again defeated by Andre, resulting in heavy casualties among the elites of the headquarters, and even the first half of the Great Route could not be controlled. As for the control of the 4 seas, does Marine still care about the world now? And Andre's return has once again sounded the alarm for Marine. Temporarily avoid Team Zero and avoid direct conflict with Andre. Sengoku reluctantly issued this humiliation order. This time, even the Hawk generals were silent. If it were 2 years ago, they would still be clamoring for a showdown with Andre. But they were impressed with Andre's flow 2 years ago. With the power of one person, the fist force slammed with pure power, forcibly shattered the sea, hitting Marine with no morale at all, and at the same time causing unacceptable casualties to Marine. That battle, the Marines, including Marshal Sengoku, Admiral Akainu, Kuzan, Kazaru, Vice Admiral Garp, and former Marine Marshal Sora, 6 Admiral-level powerhouses were seriously injured collectively. This is a fatal blow to the lower seamen. Not only that, but Marine's threat is not limited to Andre and Team Zero. Since the defeat of the elite Marine headquarters, the pirates in the New World and the first half of the Great Route have been active. The big pirates in the New World don't matter, even those rookies in the first half of the Great Route have frequently started looking for trouble with Marine. Perhaps these rookies feel that instead of challenging the big pirates to increase their prestige, it is better to swipe Marine's bases around the world. If you can destroy a few Marine bases, it will naturally increase your personal reputation. Fortunately, the skinny camel is bigger than the horse. After cleaning up more than 20 pirate ships in a row, the first half of the Great Route was finally peaceful. But it can only be said to be peaceful on the surface, because if you don't go to trouble with Marine, it doesn't mean that the pirates don't loot. At this time, the problem of Marine's serious shortage of troops was completely exposed. Past, the Marine headquarters could still say to the outside world that the headquarters focused on quality, not quantity. But at that time, the Marine headquarters could have tens of thousands of elites to come out. What about now? Can the elite of the headquarters make up 20,000? Can. Important things to say 3 times. Even if Sengoku pulled all his hair out, he wouldn't be able to make so many people. And what is the elite? That's a war veteran. Not only is his personal strength strong, but he must also be proficient in how to operate warships and be proficient in maritime operations. Instead of pulling a strong one, you can pretend to be the elite in marine. Time, we need time to regain our strength now. Whether it's Sengoku or Garp, it's still empty as a consultant. The three old guys knew very well in their hearts that Marine couldn't be bothered anymore. Today's Marine is like a wounded beast. Although it is still capable of fighting, if it continues to fight, there is only one way to die. Fortunately, Akainu is no longer in trouble. Not that Akainu is enlightened and understands Sengoku's pain. But the world government really has no one to form a new army, and can only temporarily arrest marine generals such as Akainu to make up for it. Although the departure of Akainu and other generals has further weakened Marine's overall strength, but without Akainu being noisy in the headquarters every day, Sengoku can also be a lot quieter and can concentrate on doing some things. What does Andre want to do when he comes back this time? Is it just a group interview with a group of reporters? Garp looked at today's newspaper, and the headline illustration was an image of Andre and reporters answering questions. Who knows? Andre's brain is so penetrating. Sengoku looked at Andre in the newspaper, and there was an indescribable annoyance. Sengoku would be very happy if the news of Andre's sudden death from alcoholism was in the newspaper the next day. But count the days, this month's Pirate League conference will also be held, and it is estimated that Andre will return to the New World first. Hey, I wish he could go back and don't come out again. That's the biggest difference between him and Whitebeard. Whitebeard is not as active as he is. Almost, it's all a headache guy. Sengoku and Sora were chatting without a word, and at this moment, the phone worm on the table rang. Sengoku picks up the head. Good news, Marshal. Andre and Beastmaster Greg met in the New World, and a conflict broke out. The Navy who reported this information was very excited, as if he had won the lucky prize of 500 million Bailey. Sengoku just said, continue to monitor. Afterwards, Sengoku hung up the phone and sighed deeply. What a shame, to be happy because the pirates clashed. At this moment, on Fishman Island, Andre meets Beastmaster Greg. Greg is about 10 meters tall, and his limbs are even stronger. When Greg passed through Fishman Island, he never thought about paying the money, and Bill's was limited by his strength and could not receive it. And as Greg's fame grew, he and his men became more reckless. Today Greg was going to do something in a country on the first half of the Great Route and happened to meet Andre. At first, Andre didn't want to embarrass Greg. But after Greg landed on the island, he refused to pay the toll. Although the tolls are not much, and Andre does not expect to make a fortune from the tolls are set up by Andre. But it's a marine or a pirate. As long as it's not the Whitebeard pirates, or the pirates from the Zero Division, you have to pay when you pass by. This is respect for Andre. If you don't pay it, it is equivalent to provoking Andre's authority. And what's the most important thing to do? It's a face. Andre is now the pirate with the highest bounty, first in personal fame, second in strength, and a well-deserved emperor of evil. You Greg are just a pirate who just debuted a few years ago. Regardless of seniority, or the guy who is at the bottom of the list of strength and fame, he dares to ignore Lao Tzu's rules. Greg, I'll give you a chance. If you don't want to die, then kneel down and apologize to Lao Tzu. As soon as Andre said these words, Greg slammed his fist directly. Apologize. I'll blast you to scum first, and then apologize before your tombstone. Greg laughed wildly, punching Andre in the head. The power and momentum of this punch are quite strong, but... Chapter 395 Itsuki is home. It's just that Andre was hit with this punch. As for the use of fists, Andre dares to say that there are few people in the world who are better than him. I saw that Andre easily caught Greg's fist, and at the same time began to squeeze with 5 fingers. Greg wanted to flip his arm, trying to break free. But Andre's hand was firmly squeezed, never letting go. Gradually, Andre's fingers got stronger and stronger. Damn. Right punch was blocked by Andre, and Greg wasn't stupid enough to pass his left. At this point, Greg began to slam Andre down with his feet. However, his movements are a bit slow, and although his strength is still very strong, compared to Andre's overall, he is more than a little weaker. After kicking each other dozens of times, Greg's legs were already shaking. Although he pretended to be fine, the strong people present could see the truth. The strength of your fellow can also be on the strength list. Is there no one in the pirates? Andre Vivi frowned. He hadn't done his best, but Greg was already at his wit's end. According to the current pirate strength ranking, Greg has reached the 9th place. This kind of strength can also be ranked 9th. Who is ranked? Shouldn't it be a vote too? While Andre was puzzled, the strength in his hands grew stronger. Greg was a tough guy, his fists were deformed by Andre's pinching, and he didn't say anything. Humph. Andre threw Greg to the ground with a forceful flick of his right hand. Crack, a crisp bone crack sounded. Greg's men immediately pushed up, holding knives and guns, watching Andre and Carlos behind Andre vigilantly. Do you want to try it too? Andre just turned around and gave them a glance, which made Greg's men back off. Greg, for the sake of you being such a tough guy, I will let you go today, but I want to send you a word. In Lao Tzu's territory, if you are a dragon, give it to me, and if you are a tiger, give it to me. Lying down, remember this sentence clearly, because next time, let me know that you don't respect me. It will not be as simple as throwing your hand away. After Andre said these words, he strode towards the direction of Dragon Palace. Boss, are you all right? As soon as Andre walked away, Greg's little brothers gathered around and asked Greg with concern. Damn Andre. Greg was breathing heavily, his face was extremely ugly, and his right hand had become twisted. Boss, let's go quickly. After all, this is Andre's territory. There are so many of them. We shouldn't have a conflict with him here. When it's on our territory, it will definitely look good on Andre. The pirates who said this are a coincidence. Although they all know that they are not the opponents of the Zero team, they still need to ask for some cheap money to come back. Go. Greg wasn't someone who couldn't afford to lose, although it was really embarrassing to be defeated by Andre. But how many people in this world can beat the monster Andre? However, just as Greg and the others were about to board the ship, Bills came over with the mace, and then smashed the mace heavily on the ground. Have you not paid the toll yet? Damn, you thought you were Andre. Greg's men were about to make a move, but they were stopped by Greg. Give him the money, and the account will be calculated later. After Greg finished speaking, he strode onto the boat. Pretend to be anything, not being beaten like a dog by Boss Andre. Bills glanced at Greg's men contemptuously, then after counting the money, he returned to the fortress. At this time, a banquet has already begun in the Dragon Palace. For Andre's arrival, Ryugu Castle was extremely nervous. And the specifications of the banquet are all made in accordance with the top. At the banquet, Neptune actually took the initiative to come to Andre with a jug and kept pouring wine for him. If you have nothing to be courteous, you can say anything quickly. As Andre said, he snatched the jug from Neptune's hand. There was a Tenryubito shipwrecked a while ago. Then what? Otoji came forward and rescued them. What else? Now that Otahime and those Tenryubito are traveling around the world, I'm a little worried about her. She's your wife. If you don't worry, go to her. What's the use of telling me? I'm not your father-in-law. Andre rolled his eyes at Neptune, then shoved the roasted sea beast meat into his mouth. Yuji is pregnant, and there are wars going on outside, in case she encounters a rebel, or a pirate. Before Neptune finished speaking, he heard Harold tease, since you were afraid of her accident, why didn't you stop her at that time? Then I'm still asking, Can he stop him? If Yi glared at him, he probably lost his temper. Lu Yu added. Afterwards, Carlos and the others burst into laughter. It is not a secret that Neptune is afraid. In the past, Team Zero passed by Fishman Island and often made fun of Neptune about it. Andre chuckled and shook his head, then looked at Neptune. Then what do you want me to do? Send someone to get her back. Neptune hesitated for a moment, then sat next to Andre and whispered in his ear, I'd like you to go there in person if you can. Do you think I'm a street policeman? Besides, the street policeman doesn't care about this matter. Street police. What does that mean? Although Neptune didn't know what Andre meant by the street police, he still said earnestly, Otoji is a very persistent person. I hope she can dispel those thoughts and stop placing high hopes on the world government. Ha 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 tilde tilde tilde. When Andre heard this, he couldn't help laughing and scolding Neptune. Your position is really changeable, didn't you support Otoji's idea before? What's the matter? Now that the world government is weak, are you ready to defect to me? Andre's words were very straightforward, and he didn't save face for Neptune at all. This remark made Neptune extremely embarrassed, but he had no way to refute it. Yi, I will send someone to bring her back, but I have to make it clear. Since you are going to stand in line, then don't give me 3 and 4s. Otherwise, I will not have such a good temper. Andre said, and patted Neptune on the shoulder, you should do it yourself. If it weren't for your kindness to Dad in the past, I wouldn't bother to care about the mess on your Fishman Island. Chapter 396 Pyramid. New World, Darborn Islands. The Darborn archipelago consists of 1 main island and 3 smaller islands. 2 years ago, several big pirates from the New World jointly established the Pirate Alliance, and the monthly alliance meeting was held in the Darborn Islands. The Darborn Islands thus became the only islands in the New World that were not affected by war. However, in order to ensure the confidentiality of the meeting, the residents of the island have been forcibly relocated. After Andre left Fishman Island, he took a boat to the Darborn Islands. Jozu, who came to pick up Team Zero. Met, Jozu gave Andre a strong bear hug, and then asked with concern, Andre, how is your injury? It's okay, just a little injury. Andre shrugged and replied with a relaxed look. The minor injury needs to rest for 2 years. Who are you lying to? Jozu pouted and hit Andre's chest with his elbow at the same time. Everyone misses you. Don't leave in a hurry after today's meeting. Brothers get together and make trouble. I know. Andre nodded, then asked Jozu, who else will be here besides us for today's meeting? Berndi Wald, Charlotte Linlin, Kaido, Redhead, Politer, Cromwell, Raymond, Dorothy. Jozu snapped his fingers and said. Paulette, Cromwell, Raymond, Dorothy, where did these come from? And the Earl of Red isn't coming. I just entered the New World last year, and I've been restless recently, picking up troubles and grabbing territory. As for the Earl of Kai, I don't know where that guy has gone recently. Oh, the newcomer is very positive. A newcomer, when you first enter the New World, you want to express yourself so as to improve your reputation. Dad also asked me to specifically tell you that if you meet them, try not to be ruthless. Pirates will produce a group of potential newcomers. It's not easy, don't press too hard. When did I crush them? The matter of Greg has spread all over the New World now, so you should take it lightly. As soon as you do it, you will lose an arm of him. That's what he asked for, to pretend to be in my place. Shouldn't I teach it a lesson? Well, you always have your reasons, but after the Greg thing, those newcomers should have a little longer memory and choose another target. Andre and Jozu were chatting with each other, and before they knew it, they landed on the shore. At this time, dozens of pirate ships had docked on the dock. On the coast, nearly 100 flagpoles are erected, and the flags of various pirate groups are hung on the flagpoles. The most conspicuous is the one in the middle, the tallest and the thickest, with the flag of the Whitebeard Pirates hanging high above it. And next to the Whitebeard Pirates flagpole, there is a slightly shorter flagpole. Hanging on this flagpole is the flag of Team Zero. Although Andre was a former member of the Whitebeard Pirates, he disembarked years ago and hasn't officially returned for years. Although Andre claims to be the captain of the Whitebeard Zero Division, the Zero Division is now comparable in strength to the Whitebeard Pirates. Even in the number of people and ships, the Zero Division is more than the Whitebeard Pirates. As such, the Pirate League kept Andre and Team Zero separate from the Whitebeard Pirates. The two flags stand there, and also symbolize the strongest fighting power of the New World Pirates. Who came up with the idea? Andre looked away and turned to ask Jozu. What? Jozu froze, not understanding what Andre meant for a moment. The idea of putting the flag there. Andre pointed to the flag and said. The idea of decapitating David, the pirates also have no opinion. It turned out to be an old guy like him. I never thought that an old pirate like him would also be bought by the world government. What do you mean? Our flags are the tallest and the most conspicuous. Although Kaido and Charlotte Linlin's flags are slightly shorter, they are equally conspicuous. What does this mean? Andre chuckled. Andre, don't beat around the bush, just tell me. You know, my brain has never been as good as yours. Jozu said helplessly. It turns out that what happened 2 years ago is not over yet, or just started, but, it's interesting. Andre's words made Jozu even more confused. What is it about 2 years ago? Are you referring to Andre hitting Marine? Or something else? Jozu was puzzled, and Andre put his shoulders on him and said, My bro, 2 years ago first thought Marine set up a trap against me, but put everything together and all the mysteries are solved. Well, these are all a bureau set up by the world government. Quote. What game? Jozu asked blankly. First, Marine's secret army. This secret army independent of Marine headquarters and not even known to high-level officials of the world government. This army annihilated dozens of pirate regiments in a few months, causing the pirates to be stunned, and the grass and trees are all soldiers. I was afraid that Marine's next target would be me, so with the help of people with a heart, an alliance was formed to fight against Marine. Then what is the strength list, and the fame list is also released. Except for Dad, me, Shiki, Burndy-Wald, and Earl Red, how should the other lists be arranged? It's easy to say on the fame list. Who has done the most evil and who has the highest bounty can be ranked first, but what about the power list? Who is stronger between Shanks and Kaido? Charlotte Linlin and Kaido have never really fought. This power list how to arrange the ranking of the list. What's more, there are a lot of newcomers behind. Even if these newcomers killed the big pirates in the original New World, have they fought each other? After Andre finished speaking, Jozu let out a, wow. Understood. No. I don't understand you what. Andre rolled his eyes at Jozu, and then said to Jozu, obviously, this list is deliberately created by the world government to set up goals for the pirates. It seems that the pirates will unite against Marine, but in fact they are not. No, but let the new pirates who entered the New World figure out the direction, who must defeat to bring themselves closer to the throne of One Piece, King of Pirates. Quote. It's like a pyramid, a gradient going up, just like playing a game, setting us as the final boss, but this game is interesting. After Andre finished speaking, he didn't hear any reaction from Jozu, so he said a little unhappily, Jozu, I said so much, can you give me a face anyway? At this time, Jozu said with a serious face, Andre, Dad is right, the future of the Whitebeard Pirates is still up to you, and only under your guidance can our ship gallop freely. Chapter 397 Amazing Decision. The reason why the world government wants to make the pirates fight infighting is very simple. Because the world government is now unable to give Marine more resources, including soldiers. Moreover, as the prestige of the world government has dropped to the bottom, the effect of the world's military recruitment has been worsening every time, and the haze of the troubled times has completely enveloped the whole world. If the world government wants to pacify the troubled times, the first choice is to eliminate the revolutionary army, then the warlords in various places, and finally the pirates in the Great Route. And building a brave, well-equipped army is expensive and time-consuming. And during this period, the pirates can't come to cause chaos to the world government, especially Andre, an anarchic and unruly reactionary, must keep him busy. So how to solve this problem? After much discussion, the Gorosei 5 elders finally took the advice of a young strategist. That is to intensify the battle of the pirates. Because there can only be one Piece King of Pirates, One Piece can only fall into the hands of one pirate group. So if you want to become One Piece King of Pirates, if you want to get One Piece, you must defeat the big pirate in the New World. This undoubtedly pointed out the direction for all pirates. The strength list and the fame list provide a game guide for all the pirates who have just set out to sea. Whitebeard, Andre, Shiki, Red Earl, Burndy Wald, Kaido, Charlotte Linlin and other famous big pirates on the list have all been crowned with the title of level boss and have become objects that must be defeated. Kala Lala, the world government is really planning, but it's okay, this sea will be more lively and not lonely anymore. Although Whitebeard has just been bought by the world government because of David. Angry, but as Andre expounds, such a world can give birth to more powerful pirates. Yes, Daddy, this kind of world is interesting, and there will be endless fights in the future. Well, men in the sea should accept more challenges. Marco, Thatch, and others all spoke in agreement. But just when the atmosphere was high, Andre's words made everyone quiet. Just listen to Andre say, "Dad, after today's meeting, I want to find a chance to retire for a while." Retire. Retire. Andre, are you crazy? Could it be that the last injury caused you to be difficult to heal? Surprised, shocked, concerned, puzzled, astonished, dazed. The expressions of everyone in the Whitebeard pirates suddenly tightened, and Marco and Vista came to Andre's side to check his body to see if he had any dark wounds. Teach, who was on the side, opened his eyes wide when he heard the words, and then looked at Andre with incredible eyes. Because Andre is now number 1 in fame, and his strength is at the top. He is not under Whitebeard. He has people under his command. The throne of the pirates is only one step away. If he wants, then after Roger, Andre will be king. Andre, what's your reason for wanting to retire? As long as you return to the New World, the One Piece King of Pirates will be yours. Whitebeard asked in a deep voice, feeling very sorry for his most beloved son's request to retire. Because in Whitebeard's eyes, Andre is the most qualified person to sit on the throne of One Piece King of Pirates. Father, brothers, you should know me. I am eager to fight until the day I die. As for the position of One Piece King of Pirates, I have no interest in it, and I even disdain power, fame, and wealth. Take a look. Andre took a deep breath and continued. But now, because of my existence, I will definitely suppress a lot of newcomers, even if I want to be merciful, but sometimes when I move my hands, I forget the importance, just like Greg that way, you lose an arm by accident. Quote. Whitebeard nodded, accepting Andre's explanation, then stared at Andre, then how long are you going to retire? Teach is also very concerned about Whitebeard's problems. In Teach's heart, he most hoped that Andre would retire and never come out again, so that no one could interfere with his plans. Andre snapped his fingers. About 15 years of retirement. Why so long? Everyone, including Whitebeard, opened their mouths, bah. Because 15 years later, the plot officially begins. But Andre said, well, during my retirement, I will hand over the affairs of Team Zero to Carlos and the others. They also need a period of time to grow. Without my protection, they can grow up faster. Okay, since you've made up your mind, I won't advise you anymore, but... Whitebeard paused for a while, then stood up and walked in front of Andre. Although it's retired, you have to remember to come back. I know I'll be back in time. Andre nodded firmly, then said with a smile on the corner of his mouth, I want to make a good man while I have my spare time. ... After nightfall, the Alliance meeting officially began. The venue is located in the central area of the main island, and the layout of the venue is relatively simple. Several large tents, 11 chairs and a long table. Those who can sit on the chairs are the big pirates on the 2 lists. Lot of pirates coming to this meeting. In addition to many old faces Andre had seen, there were also many newcomers. Most of these newcomers were arrogant, and some didn't even come to say hello when they saw Andre. But Andre doesn't care, because as he thinks now, he can't suppress the newcomer too much. If these newcomers leave too deep a shadow in their hearts, the game will not go on. At this time, there was a commotion in the crowd. Wow, it's Dorothy. It's so beautiful, she's my goddess. If I can sleep with her for one night, I'm willing to pay no matter how much it costs. Be quiet, the Ranger Cromwell is after her. What's so scary about that little white face? Then, the voice stopped abruptly, and the pirate who had just said that Dorothy was going to sleep was knocked to the ground with the hilt of a sword by a swordsman in armor. Andre turned around and saw a tall, fair-skinned, red-lipped, white-toothed woman with a beautiful face walking out of the crowd. The woman came out surrounded by a group of pirates, and beside her, the swordsman followed her at all times. Sister Dorothy, that's Andre the tyrant. We'd better go over and say hello. If we can get Andre's care, it will be easier for us to stand in the new world. Chapter 398 Need Evidence. Men conquer the world by strength. Women only need to conquer the strongest men if they want to gain the world. There is no doubt that the Emperor of Evil, who is number 1 on the fame list and number 2 on the strength list, is the best target to conquer. Dorothy's glass-like pure brown eyes stopped on Andre's body, and her peach-colored thin chin gave a faint smile. Andre as her followers suggested. Men, the easier it is to get, the less they tend to cherish it. Although Dorothy is a newbie among pirates, she is very accurate about men. If you stay away, you can make men rush. The more you let them want but don't get it, the more they can tickle their hearts like a kitten. But soon, Dorothy discovered something that made her a little embarrassed. That's what Andre just gives her a look. Really, only one look. And never saw her again. At first, Dorothy thought Andre was pretending. After all, with her beauty, any man in this world will be obsessed with her. Especially after she ate the Paramesha charm, enchantment fruit, she even had a pair of charm, enchantment eyes. With just one look, a man could obediently surrender under her skirt. However, Andre was unmoved. He seemed to care more about the Ranger Cromwell beside her, and the new scavenger Raymond, the Gibbon man Pollitt. In addition, Andre's eyes were more on Charlotte Linlin, who had just arrived at the venue, and Kaido. Just when Dorothy was a little embarrassed, suddenly there was an exclamation from the crowd. God, it's the Earl of Kaiji, he actually came today. It's lively, not only is the tyrant here today, but the Earl of Kaiji, who has always been low-key and withdrawn, also appeared. Amid the exclamations of the pirates, Count Kaiji walked slowly into the venue wearing a neat black evening dress. In the eyes of everyone, Earl Kai slowly took off his white gloves and sat down. The Earl of Red just sat down, and before the pirates could digest the surprise just now, Andre released another explosive bomb. Earl Chiji, are you going out to fight later? My God, a tyrant is a tyrant. As soon as you meet the Earl of Chiji, do you want to fight him? Earl Chiji glanced at Andre, then picked up the red wine on the table and poured himself a glass. At this time, the atmosphere was very tense, and everyone was staring with bated breath, and their hearts were beating rapidly. Earl Chiji took a sip of red wine and said calmly, yes. Ha ha ha, cheer up. Andre laughed loudly, then waved to Carlos and the others behind him, go clear a field. Yes, boss. Carlos then drew his gun and strode out. And Harold, Luyu and others also drew their knives, and said to the pirates with a grinning smile, if you don't want to die, let your little brother get out of the way, or the knives and spears won't have long eyes. Too domineering. This is the Pirate League conference. Although the pirates were unhappy, they dared not ignore the tyrant's order, and hurriedly informed the pirates outside the venue to return to the boat. After all, Andre and the Earl of Kai are both the top powerhouses in the world. If the two fight, how terrifying is the destructive power? The pirates dare not think about it, but they know that if they dare to get close to watching the battle, they will definitely be affected. Shortly after the arrival of the Red Earl, Kaido of the Beasts and World Destroyer Grindelwald also attended. The only one missing is Golden Lion Shiki. Shiki hasn't been seen in the New World since losing to Andre a few years ago. Although his reputation is still high, it is no longer enough to match Andre. At this time, Grindelwald sat opposite Andre and said to Andre, "Andre, where have you been for the past 2 years? I thought you were seriously injured and died." "Hee, how could I die, unless you poisoned my brother's wine, unless I happened to have a stomach upset that day," Andre said. "Little brother wine. Hee, you are also trying to take advantage of Lousy. Don't know each other, Andre and Grindelwald are a good friend." At this time, in front of everyone, the two of them made a joke without any scruples. "Humph." Shanks sat in the corner and snorted coldly, "Andre, fortunately you're not dead, otherwise I wouldn't have a chance to find you to settle the account. I'm just sitting here, come here if you want revenge, I'll wait for you." Andre turned his head to Isho with a playful look on his face. As for Charlotte Linlin, Kaido is silent. By Andre, gritted his teeth even more, but didn't make a sound. At this time, Andre's eyes fell on David next to Shanks. "Andre, what's wrong? Why are you looking at me?" David always felt a little uncomfortable being stared at by Andre. "David, you and Dad are the great pirates of the same era. It stands to reason that I should respect you as a senior." "What do you mean? However, to be a pirate, you must have the consciousness of a pirate, and don't become a lackey of the government like Francesca." Andre's understatement made all the colleagues present except Whitebeard turn their attention to David. David was shocked, but he still pretended that nothing had happened, and then said in a cold tone, "Andre, although I can't beat you, you can't falsely accuse anyone, don't you know? This alliance was initiated by me, would I do this if I was bought off by the world government?" "Ha ha ha tilde. Andre leaned on the chair and laughed loudly. "Do you still want to ask me, do you have any evidence for such things?" By Andre in advance, David's face was red and white. "David, you can do whatever you can to be a pirate. Anyone here has a clean hand, and their hands are stained with the blood of countless people, so that they can sit in this position step by step, but..." Andre's voice suddenly stopped, then raised his hand and wiped his neck at David. "Being a government dog, that can't be forgiven." Bang! David raised his hand and slapped the long table heavily. "Andre, don't be a government lackey, I haven't done it, you don't want to falsely accuse me. Unless you can produce evidence." "Hee, evidence, pirates need a fart to kill people." Andre looked up at the starry sky, then waved his hand too high, "Kill him." Chapter 399 There are opinions to vote to solve. Carlos drew his gun. Harold and Mahawk drew their swords. The flowing hands have turned into wind scrolls. Ruka's fist turned red, and Ying's legs caught fire from the friction, which was extremely hot. The broadsword in Barbarossa's hand and the bone cutter in Fujiwara's hand have been wrapped in armament hockey. Anastasia has worms crawling on her hands. God, it's okay if Andre doesn't come to the meeting, he'll kill someone when he does. Andre, you're really going to hit me? David's face was ashen, he never thought Andre would kill someone on this occasion. After all, this is the Pirate Alliance Conference. Which of the present is not a big pirate in the New World who has a head and a face, and is all-powerful? Then, David turned his gaze to Whitebeard. But Whitebeard didn't bother to talk to him at all. Can the elbow be turned out? A raccoon dog. David didn't expect Whitebeard to stop Andre, and then he looked at Grindelwald. But Grindelwald looked indifferent. Andre's party. David looked at the Earl of Kai again, hoping that he would stand up and do justice. As a big pirate who can keep pace with Whitebeard, Roger, Golden Lion and others, his words should be deterrent. But the Earl of Red didn't bother to look at David at all. "You guys, don't you care?" David slapped the table heavily, scolding Kaido, Charlotte Linlin, Shanks and others. Hey, people who are about to die, and so much nonsense." Andre pinched his forehead impatiently, and then shouted to Carlos and the others, "Hurry up and kill this bastard." "Yes, boss." Carlos and the others were already leaning towards David at this time. "Andre, don't think I'm a bully. You weren't even born when I was famous all over the world." As soon as David finished speaking, Carlos fired. Boom! The bullet wrapped in armament hockey rubbed David's cheek, taking a chunk of flesh. Although David dodged the bullet, the younger brother behind him was not so lucky and was shot in the head on the spot. "If you bastards don't want to die, stay away from this old guy, or else you will be slaughtered together." As soon as Harold finished speaking, he raised his hand and waved his sword, beheading a younger brother behind David who was about to draw a sword. Originally, only one person should be killed. If you want to resist, then kill them all. Andre's indifferent sentence had already sentenced David and his minions to death. This scene fell in Dorothy's eyes. Her beautiful eyes shone. "What a domineering man, I must conquer you." "Damn it," David exclaimed. Armament hockey covered his arms, and then punched Mihawk next to him. Mihawk raised his knife and directly blocked David's heavy punch. What? Severed David's attack was blocked. Who is that guy? How can he be so powerful? Nonsense, didn't you see that his epaulets were 5 bars? Besides, does Andre have any weaklings? That seems to be the case. In the sound of surprise from the pirates, Mihawk swung his sword and slashed. Although he did not use his sword to suppress the crowd, Mihawk's slash was still fierce and fierce. Coupled with Mihawk's exquisite knife skills, for a time, Davis was injured repeatedly. At this time, Harold also came over. The two of them attacked together with swords, and Carlos released a cold shot from time to time. In a short while, David has been on the brink of death several times. What a powerful Zero Squad. It's not just powerful, it's terrifying. "David, I'll take your head." At this time, Barbarossa raised his broadsword, and the sword fell fiercely. David subconsciously wanted to raise his hand to resist, but the moment he raised his hand, Liu Yu turned into a windlock with a hurricane, firmly locking his arm, making it difficult for him to move for a while. However, before Barbarossa's broadsword fell, Fujiwara Chuming rushed over and cut off David's head with a bone cutter. From Andre's sudden attack to the action of several vice-captains of Team Zero. In just a few minutes, David, a great pirate of the same era as Whitebeard, was slaughtered by decapitation. Hang your head to show the public. As for the bodies of David and his younger brother, chop them up and feed them to the fish. Andre waved his hand after he finished speaking, and soon there were minions from the Zero team coming forward to clean up the corpses in the venue. At this time, Andre clapped and applauded, making the stunned pirates around the venue come back to their senses. It was just a little episode. The meeting that should be opened will continue. Andre said. He coughed a few times, cleared his throat, and continued. "I heard that the chief representative can make 2 proposals, right?" Yeah. Surprisingly, the first one to respond to Andre was the Earl of Kai. "Well, if that's the case, then I will build a golden statue for the top 5 people in the strength list on this island, as a symbol of the alliance. You have no opinion?" "Only for the top 5 statues." The faces of Kaido, Charlotte Linlin, Shanks, and Greg are not looking good. If Andre said to make 10 golden statues, then the 4 of them would definitely agree. But what do you mean by only making 5 seats? Do you look down on people? Whitebeard, Andre, Shiki, Red Earl, Burndy-Wald have occupied 5 places. Other words, Andre didn't take Kaido and others into consideration at all. Since this coalition assembly likes to play democratic voting, let's start voting. Andre said, and raised his hand. I have 2 votes in favor. I agree with Andre's proposal. Whitebeard naturally agreed. The Earl of Red said, I agree too. Brindywald shrugged. I have no problem. Although Shaki was not present, and his vote was missing, Andre, as the chief representative, had 2 votes for one person. Counting the 3 votes of Whitebeard, Earl Red, and Brindywald, it had reached 5 votes. Shaki was not present, so it could only be regarded as an abstention. That said, it's no use against Kaido, Charlotte Linlin, Shanks and Greg. Okay, then it's decided. I will arrange for someone to do the gold statue. You don't have to worry about it. As for how much it will cost, it will be paid by the Alliance. After all, it is the symbol of the Alliance. I believe everyone. If you have any opinions, you can raise them, and we will vote to solve the problem. Quote. Although Andre, these big pirates are not bad money, but Andre originally made this proposal to discuss Kaido and Charlotte Linlin and others. What makes them uncomfortable? Why not do it? Chapter 400 Seek a Breakthrough. As the great pirates of the previous era, Whitebeard, Earl of Red, and Brindywald can actually see it. Andre is deliberately provoking Kaido, Charlotte Linlin and others. At the same time, Andre was also telling all the pirates who were pinching at the venue. Don't think that you have a bit of fame and a bit of strength to be lawless. In front of the real powerhouses, you guys are a bunch of scumbags who don't even have the right to speak. Kaido, Charlotte Linlin, Shanks, and Greg dared not speak out, so they had to swallow this breath temporarily. Because they had no chance of winning against Whitebeard, Andre, Earl of Red, and Brindywald. Although Kaido, Charlotte Linlin, and Shanks are all 4 emperors in the original book, but what are they now? Andre had already killed David at the venue, which meant he could kill all 4 of them if he liked it. Whether it's Kaido, Charlotte Linlin, or Shanks, there's a fire in his heart. Whitebeard has suppressed an era, is it going to be suppressed by Andre for another era? It seems that you have no opinion, so that's the decision. Andre was indifferent to Isho, and then patted the table. It seems that there is nothing else in today's meeting, so let's end it. When you say it's over, it's over. Kaido, Charlotte Linlin, Shanks, Greg all looked at Andre with angry eyes. The 4 of them naturally prepared the proposal to be voted on today, but Andre didn't give them a chance to speak at all. Whitebeard said, well, it's not too early today. The Earl of Kai nods his head, expressing no opinion. Brindywald had little interest in the meeting, and it would have been better if it ended early. The 4 boss-level powerhouses have to end the meeting, and even if the 4 of Kaido want to object, there is nothing they can do. Since everyone agrees, let's end it. Andre stood up and officially announced the end of today's meeting. As for the pirates in the venue, will they feel unfair and will they be angry? Then Andre didn't bother to care. Andre, if he doesn't want to, so he can express his opinion as much as he wants. But the premise is that you have this strength. The strong eat the weak, this is the new world, and it is also the rules of the world. Want equality for everyone. What is the talent and hard work of the strong? Does the strong still have value? After the meeting, Andre came to the cleared space. Whitebeard, Brindywald, Kaido, Charlotte Linlin, Shanks, Greg and many other big pirates came to watch. Cromwell, Dorothy, Pollitt, Raymond and other newly emerging pirates also came to join in the fun. After all, the battle between the Emperor of Evil and the Earl of Red is rare. It is definitely an unforgettable memory in a lifetime to be fortunate enough to witness it. At this time, Earl Chiji stood 100 meters away from Andre and said, fighting life and death, or just fighting? Andre chuckled and said, just fight, I don't want to use the fruit power to ruin this place. Well, I don't want to use the fruit power either. After saying that, the Earl of Chiji raised the cane in his hand. This cane is a cane sword. At this time, Earl Chiji slowly drew out his sword, waved it twice, and the 2 slashes cut open the ground beside him, just like cutting tofu. Amazing. Mahawk stared intently in support of the Count. Although it was a very casual slash by the Earl of Red just now, he could feel how high the Earl of Red was in the swordsmanship. Interesting. There was a smile in Andre's eyes, and then the ground under his feet began to crack. She cracked the earth with sheer strength, and it still looked very relaxed. Tyrant Andre is terrible. Be careful, the Earl of Kai returned Andre with a smile, and then the whole person disappeared in place. Teleport. No, it's pure speed. The mythical vampire fruit gives Count Red the ghostly speed of a vampire, and powerful power. Boom. A loud bang shook the whole island. With Andre as the center, the ground shattered, countless clods were blown up, and at the same time, a cloud of dust was raised in the sky. What happened? What just happened? Cromwell, Pollitt, Raymond and others have not figured out what the situation is. At this time, the dust and mist dissipated a little, and in their sight, only 2 afterimages were flashing. What a great speed! Is that human being? Ding, ding, ding. The sound of gold and iron colliding echoed in the air. The confrontation of armament hockey, the competition of observation hockey. Speed and power collide. Happy. Heard a loud shout from Andre's mouth, and then saw him stomping heavily on the ground. Boom. The earth let out a painful whimper, and hundreds of cracks opened at the same time. Quick thrust. After the Count of Kaiji evaded, the stick sword in his hand stabbed violently, stabbing hundreds of blows in an instant. What a terrible power! What kind of speed is this? The exclamations were endless, but it didn't affect the battle between Andre and the Red Earl. Neither of them used the abilities of the Devil Fruit, and rely solely on their own strength, speed, and combat experience to fight. Andre didn't think because there was no time to think. The Earl of Red is definitely a very alternative opponent. In the eyes of Earl Kai, there is no concept of defense. He focuses on offense, and only on offense, and has no idea of defense at all. On several occasions, Andre came close to being stabbed in the heart with a cane sword. The pleasure of hovering on the brink of death. Exciting. Andre simply closed his eyes. Sight and hearing became a burden now, giving him wrong judgments. Is Andre crazy? Close your eyes now. The speed of Earl Kai is terrifyingly fast. Doesn't closing your eyes mean giving up resistance? Marco, Josu and others are all in their throats. Only Whitebeard not only did not worry, but said with a look of relief, Andre is looking for a breakthrough. 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 There is shock, there is doubt. But either way, it's unbelievable. Andre's observation hockey has been stuck at the peak of the intermediate level for a long time, and has never had a chance to break through, and the speed of Earl Chiji is the best help for him to seek a breakthrough.